Hey there, kids. It's me, Oni the Unicorn. And I'm here to tell you that f***ing your dreams ain't cheap. In fact, it costs a ton of cash to do. So that's why me and the Oh No Radio Show need your help. Just go to the website displayed below and hit us up with some cash, yo. $1, $5, $1 million if you have it to spare. Any amount is appreciated. Well, I gotta go because these dreams ain't gonna fuck themselves. See ya!
Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh my God! We have a new champion! Yes, welcome back to yet another edition of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast. Believe it or not, this is episode 199, and I'm feeling just fine. But tonight, the Shark Break Kid and predictions champion is joined by two of his good brothers in this wrestling world. None other, of course, the modern day Maharaja Matthew. Thank you for joining me once again, sir.
Oh yeah, as always, brother. Good to see you.
Going with a new yeah tonight. Going with a new yeah. You're going with a new yeah. All right. I like it. You're feeling particularly macho on this. This evening. I like it. And well, not of course, but for the first time with me, a guy that filled in for me very, very graciously, and a guy that we had to have back on the show, a guy that you guys seem to enjoy. It's none other than our good friend, Double J Jensen, baby.
What is up, guys? Thank you so much for asking me back. It is such a pleasure and honor every time I'm here, and I love to talk wrestling with both of you. So,
well, we needed
super excited.
We needed more Canadian-sounding guys on the show because, like, even though I know you're not really Canadian,
I'm Canadian.
You're the Canadian. You don't sound. Well, you do when you're Saurian. When you're Saurian,
you're sorry a lot.
Yeah.
I think my boots kind of.
Yeah.
They used to make me say that as a kid, and like when I moved to the States, they made me say "out and about with the mouse in the house," and they called me Canadian Bacon Boy. Told my mom I was never going back to school. I hated this place.
Oh, jeez.
Well, from what I've learned from wrestling and from what I've just learned in life is that Canadians equal money. So I just try and get people that sound slightly Canadian-ish or esque. And I get them on my show, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be good ratings. This is going to be good numbers.
Yeah, they're also pretty good wrestlers, too.
Pretty good wrestlers. Yeah. I hear of the legends of the Hearts, and the Stampedes, and even the Christian Cages. By the way, your real dad is Christian Cage, Matthew. I've decided that your real dad is Christian Cage.
I would love that. My dad's kind of my dad right now is kind of an asshole, so I would love Christian Cage. And I'd love to see them go back and forth in a promo. And Christian Cage would eat him alive. And wearing that turtleneck, I might show up then wearing a turtleneck.
Oh, I think that needs to be your new radio show gimmick. You might
be. I
Dude,
need to get
the sleeveless turtleneck is
sleeveless.
Oh man,
grow the stubble back out a little bit, get it more grizzled, and then get the hair going like you have, and then you'd be Christian Cage if you throw that turtleneck. That's your next cosplay, brother.
That is my next cosplay, I think. I bet that's a good one. I think Owen kind of looks like, I don't know if you've seen his hair. If you look at this. Look at his little. He's got like the Wardlow before Wardlow got his hair chopped off.
That's where the obsession with Wardlow's hair comes from.
Yeah, so he looks like a skinny Wardlow.
Yeah, I am skinny Wardlow, but again, like I said, I'm also your predictions champion. And boy, what a ride this weekend was of wrestling. First off, I didn't think I was gonna come out on top, guys. But you know, a fighting champion, he might lose the belt, but he comes back the next day and he squeaks that next victory. He just takes it. He takes it right back because it's right where it belongs, on my hypothetical shoulders. But all kidding aside, what do we think of this weekend's wrestling? Because there was a lot of it.
I mean, I'll start really quickly by saying on last week's podcast, I started off the show by asking you, Owen, about what your general feeling was of the wrestling landscape.
Yeah.
Not one promotion over the other, just what is like your general feeling? You know, are you excited? Are you not excited? Or, you know, and I kind of said, you know, I have this general sense of malaise. Like, things have been taking too long, right? And Owen, if I remember correctly, I won't quote you, but you said something to the effect of like, you know, I kind of get what you're saying, but like this weekend has the ability to kind of change.
There's a lot of changes coming, is kind of what I said. Is like, you know, don't get too down on it right now, because I think that we're on the precipice of a turn, is more or less what I was saying, correct?
Yeah, and I agreed with that. It was just my big thing, like AEW, it had just taken so long to get to Double or Nothing. That was kind of my thing, like between these pay-per-views, which I've now seen reports like sporadically that they're open to doing a couple of more pay-per-views. I don't know. We'll have to see how Collision pans out and kind of like what they would do with they then can't keep doing like Battle of the Belts and like special TV shows all the time if they're gonna try and do that. I also wouldn't do one a month, and I'd like to get your guys' opinion on that. But before I do that, I'll finish my thought real quick.
Please.
I then said, you know, I then thought, you know, I agree it just took so long to get there. I feel a lot better for AEW coming out of that pay-per-view. It did exactly what you were saying, Owen. And WWE, I had said that, you know, again, with like the bloodline and all of this stuff, like, I get it, but like, what's really kind of, and we finally got something, I think, you know, we got a couple of things. And overall, not a horrible pay-per-view, actually, for what they did over in Saudi. So I will say that from last week to this week, I am definitely feeling a little bit better and more hopeful and positive about the things that transpired and the things to look forward to. I'm excited to talk to you guys about that. But what would you guys think about AEW putting on more pay-per-views per year?
I'll say this. I think originally it's very interesting how the tides have turned, because I thought, like, when AEW was created, there was so much internet wrestling discourse and even us talking about this, where we thought it was great that they were only going to stick to like 4 pay-per-views a year. Do I agree with you that there is a weird long gap between Double or Nothing and what's the one that's before
like Revolution?
Actually, I think Forbidden Door might be next.
Well, no, before it.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Revolution or was it Full Gear? Was it November?
Yeah, I think it was Full Gear.
It felt like it did whatever it was. We don't remember. It has felt like a very long time in this particular cycle between the last pay-per-view and this pay-per-view. Right. Moving forward with now Forbidden Door coming up, with All In coming up. Presumably they're still doing All Out that's coming up. Maybe All Out becomes a TV thing. Don't know. I think that would, you know, I think they kind of have to. I don't know what they do with that, but then their traditional pay-per-view cycle, which in the past, for my money, I believe has actually been about damn like perfect. That 4 to 5, I like the 5, maybe 6 pay-per-views a year, not 12, and maybe not 4 either. 4 might be too little. So to answer your question is, I think they're getting that on track, and I think it's funny that once upon a time we were excited for the last pay-per-views. Now, this was also at the time, I believe, the WWE was still running one a goddamn month. So too much to take in and what have you. Yeah, it's sometimes 2. Jay, what do you think of that? And what do you feel about just like coming out of this weekend? Are you feeling better about the wrestling industry than before you went in?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I knew going into this weekend, WWE treats these Saudi shows now bigger than WrestleManias, because you know, they make more money off of them than they do the WrestleManias in terms of.
And I'll stop you for 2 seconds if you don't mind.
No.
Sorry to interject on this one, but once upon a time, the Saudi shows weren't even canon.
Yep.
Like, there was a time that they weren't even canon, and now we built it, and that was only a few years ago. Now we built it to this place where they're more than canon. They're, again, like you just said, as big, if not bigger, than WrestleMania, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, and they make so much money on these. It's absurd. And I think the last one might have been number 9. So they have 11 more left on this deal. So we're, buckling because we're still getting
probably more after
more a
that,
year.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's from a business side of things, and from, if you're a WWE investor, you gotta love these Saudi shows because they make a lot of money for the company and they generate a lot of buzz for the company. So I knew going into this weekend it was going to be a big show. It was a pretty decent show. I was pretty happy with Night of Champions. The AEW card, they've had a hard time building up to things. So I wasn't as excited going into that.
They've had enough time.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't as excited going into it.
It was the least excited that I've been, though, for a pay-per-view, an AEW pay-per-view that I think I've ever been. And I bought them all. I've seen them all and bought them all. I've been to one. Like, at the end of the day, this was the least excited I've ever been for one.
And I think the crowd largely reflected the way we feel about that, because they were pretty down for most of the show, kind of up for Statlander, and then those last 2 matches kind of redeemed the entire AEW pay-per-view, and I felt good about that. But I also feel that we're in a holding pattern between Punk and Collision. Just there's going to be an announcement from Tony about that Wednesday show. And I assume it's probably going to be that's going to be when Punk's coming back, but I don't know. So AEW,
you're neither here nor there. It sounds like you're hopeful, but not necessarily things are on fire again, right?
Well, he's best for business, and I think I said that the last time I was here, and
that's what I
keep reiterating. He's
sure.
Toxic for the locker room. So,
but you can't put all your chips on him. Like the fact that what you just said, that kind of like those last 2 matches, which I do agree with. Those were the best matches on the card and such. But it's like we're kind of in this limbo again, and I think this is kind of that Tony Khan thing. Which, if something doesn't happen the way he wants to with the championship, we've seen this with Statlander, right? Mm-hmm. He'll just go into a holding pattern, right? Yep. And he'll fuck everything and everyone else. I want this to happen the way that I want it to happen. And I guess he's learned patience. He probably meditates very well. Yeah. But I will say that, but when it comes to that pisses me off if he is doing it because he's holding for Punk. Because yes, Punk is money and will draw money, but that is also, again, putting down everyone else on your entire roster and everything, putting all of your chips on someone who has fucked you over and other people. And now you're saying, yeah, but he's also, because he's worth more money, he's more important.
The importance thing. The importance thing is huge. And I think I said this a while ago is that because of WWE's business practices being so awful for so many years, I was so delighted when a wrestling company came along that seemingly had ethics and morals and things that I could get behind. Don't make me lose faith in that, Tony Khan, because you're really on the cusp of making me lose faith of that. And I don't know that he's any closer to it with anything that's happened over this last week. That part still remains about the same. I will say that, booking wise, I think we're in a better position in both companies than we were when we entered the weekend. And I'll even throw NXT in that as well. I'm guessing probably you guys haven't even checked that out, but there are some redeeming qualities on that show. There's some stuff, at least one match worth watching, and we'll get to it. Mm-hmm. So let's just move right into how the weekend started. Really, are you guys able, how does it work with you guys? I know you have kids and dogs or did. Sorry, Jay. But
I still got 2.
Right. But you have lives, right? You have wives. Yeah. You're not single dudes in your teens or 20s. How does it work for you, both of you, trying to watch a pay-per-view on a Saturday afternoon? or morning. I guess you guys are in Denver, so it's morning. It's 11. It's late morning for you.
This one was fine for me. It's completely easy. It's, like I woke up, got a couple of things done, and kind of just knew that I had a few hours of wrestling to watch, and that's what I wanted to do that day. I had planned it out in advance because I don't have kids or any other obligation, which is great because I am a 38. I'll be 39 this year, but I live the life of like a 13-year-old boy, but I have a job. Beyond that, like I get to I can smoke weed and drink, but I watch wrestling and fuck around with like drums and music gear and, like dogs and things like that, go out in the woods and go hiking. It's like
you are stepbrothers and watch wrestling. Yeah,
pretty much
without the mom and dad part.
Yeah. But I do have plans, on Saturdays from time to time. But if it's something that's happening, and this one, because of things that have gone on in my life, it's like it's no pressure. I woke up, did some things, then ate a couple edibles.
I personally love it. I love an early pay-per-view. I love it in the middle. I like kind of getting it out of the way. I was actually at work watching this one. Don't tell them. But I had my laptop there and I was doing my job, but it was there when I was watching live, and I was able to do that. But even in the past, when I've not been at work and I've been at home, I like kind of like getting a lazy sleep in, and then, oh wow, in an hour or two, it's gonna be time for a pay-per-view, not waiting till 8 o'clock. Do you find the same thing, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, well, the only other sport I watch is F1, and there's a lot of overseas stuff. So, I wake up and it's like, oh, I got racing there waiting for me. Or some nights I'll stay up till 3 a.m. and watch some racing. So I really kind of prefer to watch it and get it done. I don't have a ton of responsibilities anymore. My 2 dogs are pretty self-sustaining. My daughter is almost 26, so that's no issue.
Sure.
So actually, Saturday afternoon was perfect. Afternoon of Champions I enjoyed, and then I actually hit a couple grams of mushrooms right after.
There you go.
So it was
gives you
time
nice... It gives you time to enjoy the rest of an evening without any of it.
Exactly. So I would not be against more of this stuff. Now, I thought it was funny that they called it Night of Champions, even though most of the people watching it were going to be, it was the afternoon. So
I'm okay with that though, because it was night there. It was night there. Like, that's fine. Like that, and it looked like the nighttime. It was in, I'm fine with them calling it Night of Champions. I just wonder how like that it translates. Like, do they get more views on this than they do if they were to throw on No Vengeance or something, right? Some rando pay-per-view that's at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. Do they get more views for a Night of Champions, or do they get more? Like, I'm not talking WrestleMania. I'm not talking any of the big four.
I bet you get more younger views. I would like to see those demos, because I bet you get more younger views because you have more younger kids available who are probably able to watch that. I think
it's an incredibly smart marketing move, first off, because a lot of people are signed now into Peacock. That, like, I think the whole Peacock thing, as much as we hate the fact that organization of it and all that, it was the smartest move. One of the smartest moves they ever did, business-wise, because it's getting more eyes on that product than has ever been seen before. More than it would be if it was on cable or SmackDown, even on Fox, I think. I think Peacock is getting more eyes on that product. And it's probably getting more young eyes that are flipping through, that are trying to find something on a streaming service. It's generating the new generation of fans. Mm-hmm. And that's why, I was curious about that, and just how, like, I wouldn't even mind if other companies toyed with the idea of doing afternoon pay-per-views. Like, why does it always have to be at 8 o'clock at night? First off, on a Sunday night when people have to go to work the next day, it fucking sucks. Because then you got to stay up on an AEW pay-per-view when it's on Sundays, and it's, till goddamn 12 o'clock or past 12 o'clock on the Eastern Coast at night. Now I got to wake up at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, well, you're lucky in some ways and unlucky in others in that regard. But
that's true. But I will say, if I were going to a pay-per-view, I would rather it be in the evening than during the day.
I think, yes.
Live
gate-wise.
It's like depending on, it's all relative, right? I think, at least for me. I will say this about the Saudi show too, really quickly, because you had touched on it being night over there and everything. Have you guys noticed it? Are they always in Jeddah?
No, they're not. They've done different cities throughout all of Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know they've done Jeddah a few times, and I thought they had done a couple of other ones. But have you noticed that like it's turned into more of an actual crowd ringside and not Saudi princes and like these huge couches and little kids running around and things
people
like
standing up, having little conferences.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Feels more human and more what we're used to for damn sure now. It feels and I'll say, let's talk about it because I'll say even like the Sami stuff on this particular one really humanized both their audience and kind of like the whole situation. Let's talk about Night of Champions in general. To open with the new what is it, WWE Heavyweight Championship? World Heavyweight Championship.
My beef with this,
I didn't love it. I didn't love the fact that they opened with it.
I also don't like the fact that you're calling it a triple main event, and one of the main events is the opening match.
Like,
exactly.
That makes no sense.
We should know that as really smart fans, that if you're on first or last, those are the two best spots of the show, and then the one before it is probably the next best, right? Like that's kind of the way we should know it. But you don't bill it like that. You don't sell it like that. The opening match realistically should have been Rhea and Natalya, the best match of the night. Duh. Without question, just hard-hitting, just strong wrestling, good action. But no, it was Seth Rollins, AJ Styles. And it does, to me, it feels like it is a consolation prize, right? Like it is a mid-card belt without calling it a mid-card belt. They're calling this thing, on commentary, they're calling it the Work Rate Championship.
Yep.
That used to be the Intercontinental Championship. That was the reason for the Intercontinental Championship, which was a mid-card belt. So you're calling it, without saying it is, you're saying it is to me. And it maybe it isn't to the casual or the new fan, but you're literally almost telling me in the same verbiage, this is a mid-card belt.
And the way they're presenting it with Roman Reigns, they're talking about him being like the champion that doesn't wrestle,
right?
But at the same time talking about celebrating his 1,000-day reign, and it's like okay, we're acknowledging on in commentary and on camera that one of the reasons Roman Reigns is still champion is because almost every match has shenanigans. But we're also saying, like, look how great he is. Like, it's a little confusing as a fan sometimes.
It's funny. Well, it's funny you mentioned that whole match having shenanigans. That's going to be a big theme throughout the night. But one of the things I want you to like ask yourself right now, and something I've been thinking about, is with the Roman feud in particular. Almost every match there's a ref bump, right? Almost every match, there's a ref bump of some description. Ref bumps have their places. I get it. One of the questions I've just been having, and this will come back later, but one of the questions I've been having, has there ever been a legit ref bump in a wrestling match that you can remember? Where where a ref got hit with something and had to be replaced?
I would say in one of the times when a Big Show and someone else was like had broken the ring and the ref actually stumbled and tripped out of the ring.
Fell out.
That's the closest I could think of.
Charles Robinson used to do that like a pro though. That was just that was his thing. That was his thing. Like Lil Nate knows how to do that. Like he just tucks and rolls and goes for the ride. But I can't name a match that's actually happened. Now this is something. It's like maybe we'll get to it later, but of course AEW has been using this trope so often. I need some realism brought back into it. What I'm telling you is let's put more guitar shots on Aubrey Edwards, please. That's what I need. That's what I need. Yeah, that's what I need. But anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. It was the right move though, right? With Seth.
For sure.
I mean, also,
I love AJ, but it was the right move.
Yes, but again, and we've talked about it a million times, the brand split, and then he shows up on Raw last night. AJ shows up on Raw.
Yeah, but he just wanted to thank him and tell him. Like,
yeah, he wanted to thank him and then join his team and wrestle as a tag team. And like Adam Pearce, who is he talking to on the phone? I thought Adam Pearce called the shots, and he's on the phone and he's going, yeah, I mean, he's here. I know he's on SmackDown and we're at Raw right now. And it's like, yeah, none of what you're doing makes sense. And this makes even less sense. Who the fuck are you talking to?
Jack
You're the authority figure.
Jack Tunney. Jack Tunney is still
might be
there.
Jack Tunney,
It's still
yeah.
Jack Tunney doing the job. I mean, that is a good point, though. Are we meant in kayfabe to think that that's Vince on the other end of Adam Pearce's phone? Is that, or
I don't know.
I mean, who
I
else?
wish they would explain that.
Yeah,
I wish they.
yeah.
I wish they would. Yeah, maybe even if it was Trips, that's fine. You just gotta kind of let us know who
But
the
like the
character
thing is
on the
also
other end
they
of the phone is.
acknowledged the brand split and
Yeah.
acknowledged it was
Yeah.
being broken, but it's been broken and the champions for the women's are on like they're not acknowledging. It's
a
so
mess.
fucking weird to me what they're doing. And last week, I don't know if you listened to last week's podcast. I've been very upset about this, Jay. Very upset about this because it doesn't make sense. Then last week, I had, in the middle of talking to Owen, I had this aha moment, and I was like, oh, if you have the opposite champion on the other show, that's why you draft them there, then people from Raw have to come over to SmackDown to challenge them, and people from SmackDown have to come over for that. And I thought that was it. I was like, I figured out their stupid fucking logic. And then like 10 minutes later, Owen said something, and I was like, yeah, my logic doesn't make sense again, because I was like, they just did something else fucking weird. And I don't know, man.
They don't care about the logic. They think that the
But
audience has
the draft
minds
get
of goldfish
ratings.
that will never. The draft never gets ratings.
So why do they make a big deal? Just lose it.
Yeah, well, they tried on Monday to say, or they tried on the Night of Champions to say if AJ won, he'd be going to Raw.
Yeah.
But it was like, but
they at least
and
acknowledge
then on
that,
Monday
I
when he
guess.
shows up, they have the little SmackDown placard.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you know, my big thing that I hated from that whole angle is that could have been a spot to elevate someone else from Raw. Like
Totally.
It should have been.
someone else should have been tag teaming with Seth.
And you know who from reading reports who possibly did that. That was the one big rewrite that apparently Vince McMahon had for Raw, which he's been doing from what
via
I've read,
Zoom
they're
or
saying
whatever,
they're saying
remotely.
the talent likes that he's not there.
Yeah,
right.
of course, they
Like
will.
and doing it, they like it better this way, but he's doing it and it's still very last minute. And apparently the big last minute thing was AJ's on the show. AJ's, and you're going to do this thing with Seth.
Absolutely nuts.
Who are they going to put in that place then? Cameron Grimes.
I mean, who's going to be your second person on Raw?
You
Your
got to
second
keep
face
Cody
on
away
Raw
from him.
under.
You got to keep. I mean, you can't do Gunther. I think they're going to have.
Who's the
it's
face?
Steph, I think
Outside
Steph's
Cody.
face.
It's got to be Seth and Cody.
I mean, Steph's
tag
face.
teaming together. is what
Oh
I'm saying.
yeah, tag team together.
Yeah, because I can't think of who the second top face on that show is.
Where's Bobby Lashley right now? Because he can go in
He's
any
SmackDown.
direction.
Yeah. Oh, is Lashley SmackDown?
Is he
He was-
SmackDown? I don't know any of the
He's
roster.
SmackDown.
Here's the thing, too. It used to feel important when somebody would hop from one brand to another. When you do it this often, it's not important. Like, you're
Expected.
diluting your brand split by doing it too much. So, like, I'm okay with a brand split. And I'm okay with even people popping over from time to time. Just make it important when it happens. Baron Corbin just showed up on NXT the other night, right? That
so did
feels
Mustafa Ali, who is no longer positive Ali because he dyed his hair black.
oh
He's
well.
wearing all black.
I mean, Corbin.
Gunther loss just devastated him.
You're gonna make him fly all the way to Saudi Arabia. You're gonna make him take the loss, and then you're gonna make.
I
And
got
then
an
you're
idea.
gonna bring him back, and you're gonna say your whole positive Ali thing isn't working. Guess what? You didn't
Okay, hear me
manifest
out.
this
Hear
shit.
me out.
You're
I just
going
had
back
an
down to
idea.
NXT.
Okay. I just had an idea. I just had the greatest idea of all time. We just sent Ali and Baron Corbin back to NXT. Baron Corbin's gonna try and be big shit in NXT, and then he's gonna lose. So now we get Bum Corbin back. Now he's Bum Corbin NXT. We got the power of positivity Ali with Corbin. We make him a tag team. There's the positive Ali with the bum Corbin trying to, and it's something that they can bring back to the new roster. Honestly, that would actually fucking work. I'm sorry, it would. It would work. It would work.
It might. I mean,
I love Baron Corbin. I think Baron Corbin is the man. Corbin's like, he's underrated as hell. I love him.
I like him in his original NXT incarnation when he came up.
Fuck that long-haired douchebag.
I was a sucker for the entrance and the lone wolf gimmick, but
give me my big boss man slide and give me my fucking Baron Corbin with his bald dumb head. And I like Baron Corbin. I think he is underrated. I think that you need to put a serious championship on him one day. That's my guy.
I think the silence speaks volumes. I think.
NXT, he should beat Carmelo Hayes.
So maybe he's exactly where he should be.
Yeah, isn't that who he attacked? Was Carmelo Hayes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's going for that.
I will say that End of Days looked fucking dope though. Like,
yeah, that is
Carmelo
good,
ran into it and he caught it so well, and then they both swung back and down. It was great. You
guys are gonna eat your words one day when
I like Sad Corbin.
Sad Corbin's the best.
Sad Corbin was good.
That was good shit.
Yeah.
All right.
That was good.
Moving on, though, a little bit to Night of Champions. What did you guys think of Gunther versus Ali? Because I thought it was an over-delivery in every single way. I thought that match was really, really, really good. And it's interesting that they did do that instant switch with Ali going back to NXT, because I'm like, well, this kind of made Ali on the main roster. This made him look like $1 million. I thought that they were going to, find a program for him and elevate him further from this loss. That obviously doesn't seem like it's going to go that way, but I mean, hell, Gunther looks, even, more dominant now than ever, right? Like, so, but overall, just that match, it might have been my favorite match on the show.
You were saying Ali could have won last week.
Yeah, and they had me believing. They did in that match a couple of times with the amount of crowd support, and there was
power
once
of
or
positive
twice.
Ali.
Positive Ali.
After that 450, like it was a big kick out for Gunther to kick out of that 450, because I did think that, like, oh my God, they could do it here. They didn't, and it was the right move, and I do support them, obviously, having Gunther win this match. They need to build him as more and more dominant, but they at least gave something to Ali, and the offense, they gave a lot more offense than I expected that they would have given in that match.
It's so weird to do that, though, and then send him to NXT and change his character.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's weird. It's like,
why do that?
It's almost like they were pandering to a Muslim audience.
Oh, wow. I wonder if they would. I wonder if that company would ever
do that.
I wonder if they would ever do anything like that. Yeah,
no, never.
And, I thought it was really interesting too, because they covered a lot of Ali's visit while he was there, which I thought was good, but they didn't give the same coverage as Sami's.
No.
Like they showed Ali's visit to.
Oh wait, no, I saw stuff on Sammy's social where.
Yeah, so did I. Where he did his
it was like Sami posted all that.
And
he does the, what's it called, the Umrah, my apologies to any Muslim listeners. I think that was it, but
by the way, though, what you're talking about, those pictures of him, it was beautiful. Like, he looked like that was something he needed to do. It looked like that was like a really fulfilling thing for him, and
that's like every Muslim.
That is wrestling.
Once in a lifetime, they have to make that pilgrimage, I think.
Yeah.
And because of the relationship with Syria, like, he probably never thought he was ever going to be able to do this, and like it,
wearing my Sami for Syria shirt.
Hey, no, I probably should get one. I'm an asshole for not doing it, but yes, you're 100% right in that they definitely focused more on Ali's trip than they did Sami's, and it's kind of, I mean, I don't know. Are you afraid of money? Because it seems like what you do is the complete opposite, really. Like, why wouldn't you sell the shit out of? Look at Sami here. The thing, like, I'm being a capitalistic asshole here, but you know what I'm saying, like. Why wouldn't you go behind? Maybe there is going to be a behind the scenes documentary about this, and a 24 or something like that later down the road with Sami on this pilgrimage and all that, like in a pilgrimage in a multitude of ways, right? So maybe that's what they're kind of probably planning on doing. But yeah, I found it noticeable that it was leaning, all the coverage was leaning towards Ali in this situation.
I hate to say this, but my assumption, and I kind of feel bad for this, but my assumption is that they don't want to highlight Sami's Muslim heritage because Sami is a very big seller for them over here in the States, and not a lot of people know, unless you're, an internet person or whatever, about his Muslim heritage. So if I had to guess, I was thinking it was probably a marketing move.
I'd be more mad at the French Canadian. I'd be more mad at the French Canadian thing than the Muslim thing. Fuck those French Canadians. They're terrible. They're the worst.
No Canada like French Canada.
Those the Muslim guys, they're all right, but
But I mean that's unfortunately my guess, because
it's a good guess.
The Sami Zayn shirt's a big seller for him, and
it is.
I think they probably assume that they'd alienate some of their their people.
Yeah, like let them get the entrance.
I hope that's not the reason, because it's incredibly bigoted. But this is the WWE we're talking about.
Don't get past a large corporation, which is not a human, but is somehow treated like one for tax purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you guys think about the Zoey Stark push and the decision to have Becky lose?
They've pushed her hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even then coming into last night, on Raw, or 2 nights ago.
She wouldn't have been my choice in that position, but I'm happy they're doing it with somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I guess
someone deserves a push. Yeah, because if you do it with
you got to hotshot somebody at some point, right? You gotta take someone from NXT. You got to throw them through the top. You got to do something. I feel like this was supposed to be someone else. Like maybe it was supposed to be Dakota Kai, or maybe it was supposed to be someone because of that whole thing with Bailey.
What's her name? Nikki ASH.
Oh, Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross.
I think. No, I don't think it was supposed to be her, because I think they've given up, and they should give up on her. She's terrible.
Well, it's got to be someone that they think they could pair with Trish, because Trish is still a good promo,
and wasn't a slouch, honestly, in the ring.
But she did fuck up a couple
She fucked
things.
up.
She did. But she's still a good promo, and she still gets heat really well. So I think they're just. I think that's what they're looking for.
And there's not a lot really right now for Becky to do. So it's a way to continue, a feud, keep Becky on TV, to have Trish around, to keep that interesting, and now put the work essentially on Zoey Stark. I'm just not convinced I would have put her in that role. I would have made I can think of a couple other names. Honestly, and some of you are gonna cringe at this, but I don't know where she is physically or health wise, but I kind of wanted to see a Lacey Evans put into this role. I think that would have worked with Trish. Well, you say no, but it would have been ultimate heat, because I think that you can. I think
he's already got heat.
Right.
Yeah, she's already got ultimate heat. No one likes her.
Except for you.
Yeah. If she came back and did the Southern Belle gimmick, great. Then she might have a chance.
I just want her back with Sergeant Slaughter. Do the military thing, but do it with Sergeant Slaughter. Let that dude do the talking. Then we're gold.
They've just done the military thing with her. I get it. But what did you do? Did you pull people out of fucking burning helicopters and blah blah, or I don't know what did you do that I get it.
I know what she did, man.
Memorial, but
I know what she did.
You know what she did. Yeah, somebody in that company very high up has a hard on for Lacey Evans.
I know what she did. Was it the right
They made her kiss Ric Flair too, but that's
on the other side of the women's,
which was pretty awful.
On the other side of the women's division, was it the right move to put the belt back on Asuka?
That was really not a huge pop when that happened.
I was surprised.
It was really weak. I was not expecting that to happen.
I loved it.
I did too, but I also thought that match sucked.
Match was not very good. No.
It was horrible.
The missed angle was really awkward.
Really awkward.
I
Everything
liked the end. I did like the end. I thought the end finish thing was slightly clever. They've not really.
The idea was good.
That.
Execution just didn't work.
Yeah. The rubbing it in the face instead of like that whole deal was kind of cool.
That makes sense, but like I don't know. It's so weird to do it over there and not at like Mania if you were wanting something big to happen with Asuka, which makes me think again. Same thing with Seth, right? This is that whole like doesn't really mean anything. Like this run isn't going to mean anything for Asuka. I would like it to, but like just the way it's come off and the way it happened, it didn't feel like a big moment. It didn't feel like, yeah, you deserve it. You've been chasing this. Like it did the story arc and everything. I don't know. It wasn't there for me. And I do watch a good amount of WWE. So I will say that like I just wasn't bought fully in on this as this being like a huge pivot point for the women's championship.
I agree, but I think Bianca needs a reset too. I think she probably needs some time off TV, so to get the belt off her is smart. Do we do a heel turn with Bianca?
I think probably. I mean,
I think so.
She was great as a heel in NXT, and wasn't she? She was a heel when she first came up.
Oh, she was 100%. Right? Like most of her run, almost all. I think all of her run in NXT, she was a heel. Maybe until like the dying days when she was such a good heel, they turned her into a babyface. But she was a heel. Like that's. Do you align her with the Street Profits? Put her with Taz?
I was wondering that.
Like, do you do something in like maybe because I feel like there are tinges that they're turning.
Seems like a very.
I feel like they're turning them heel too, though. Like they're slowly.
Well, what was that group
easing into it?
Swerve left.
Oh God, yeah.
Hit Row.
Very
Hit Rowy.
Yeah, Hit Row. Yeah.
Don't put her with Hit Row. Don't put her.
Not because no, I'm not. I'm saying if you put her with the Street Profits, it seems very Hit Row as heels.
Yeah, the three
versions
very hit
almost yeah.
No, that's fair.
I don't know. I think she's come along enough to where she's also believable on her own. Maybe you could stick her with them. Maybe you could stick her with a manager, but I'm not quite sure who. But I completely agree with you that she needs a bit of a refresh. Some time off on TV.
I'd almost
she's
put
not the pop's not as there as it like it used to be for her.
Yeah.
And okay, so we're gonna have a big deal, I guess, coming up soon because now we've got new women's tag team championship holders, right? With Shayna Baszler, with Ronda Rousey. What if we actually put Bianca and Charlotte together as a team? What if we use that as a team to go against them? That's kind of believable that they could beat them. Plus, we're both sick of Charlotte. We're both sick of Bianca. We have them both as
I'm also sick of Ronda Rousey, and she just came back.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, God damn it,
Shayna. I like Shayna, but yeah, Ronda's rough.
I'm hit or miss on Shayna. Like, I want to like her, and sometimes I get her, and sometimes I don't. And I think it's when I see her with Ronda that I don't get her.
Yeah.
And but then I go and I know Ronda's doing her work. Like, but I read a recent interview from a podcast she was on, and it's back to. No one can do what I do, and this is fake, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, either you're doing this or you're not. This is the same story over and over. It was fine for whatever. I actually didn't like it the first time you did it, but, like, it got eyes on it, and I understand why you did. I hope this is not a thing that Endeavor's then pushing again as, like, a tie-in crossover type thing, because
I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
Just don't.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey does not do anything for me. She does not move.
Not since her first
quite
run.
Far too. I mean, she used to be a feature.
Yeah.
I mean, people would tune in for it. It was a news. It was big news. She
should just show up on Collision with CM Punk, and like they'd have the two of them do that. Like, okay,
sure.
I mean, she's in the best place she could be right now with Shayna, and even though it's such a far down, it's such a fall down from where she was in the roster for it's something, but I'm with you guys. I'm just not a fan.
And as much as we don't, as much
not
as
a good actress, and
no, she's not. And she can be great in the ring when she wants to try, right? Like we have seen greatness out of her without a doubt. We've also seen that with Shayna, and whether we like it or not, I do like Shayna. And I think that the pairing with Ronda is about the only thing that's ever going to get Shayna maybe to that next level. So
Agreed.
if it's nothing else, you know, we're getting Shayna at least a little bit up the card, and we're building on her, even if it's at the expense of us having to deal with Ronda Rousey. That's kind of my thought process on it. But
I sometimes contrast them to where Marina Shafir is in AEW. And I don't remember who the fourth person of that four horsewomen group is, but like I love Marina Shafir. I love her entrance when she comes out, and you know, I love her attitude and everything. And,
and she's a smoke show too. But that's not ignore that.
But I think she's really captured what they've been trying to do with and not saying she's like, you know, super popular on the AEW roster, but I think what they're doing with her is what they're trying to do with Shayna and Ronda, and they just can't. They're not coming off as these stone cold killers that they need them to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I think that's right. And I think
comes off forced.
Exactly.
It does come off forced.
The eyeshadow, and I know that's Ronda's thing, but man, it just
I think it's part that, and I think it's part what Ronda's done just in her socials and stuff too. I think that she's almost dug herself her own little grave with that one. It's like, you had it. You could have been almost one of the greatest women superstars in professional wrestling history, but I think you kind of blew it with the fans when you told them that they fucking sucked. Like, let's not forget when you went off.
Andrew Shoot is going to be to talk shit and complain about it.
Yeah.
So, and not even in a good way, the way Logan Paul does it. Like, he does it right.
Because he's joking. He's doing kayfabe when he does it. She wasn't doing that. She was doing something completely different. And as a real fan of this industry, I actually took offense to that. Like, that's fuck you. Like, I'm not supporting you then. Like, I hope you fail. I recognize your talent, but I'm not getting behind you anymore. And and that's just that. Someone I will get behind. I shouldn't have said that. But something. Match of the night. I'm not even going to review this. We don't even need to talk about it because it was so good. You just need to go back on Peacock and watch it for yourself. But Rhea Ripley and Natalya, thing of beauty. What an excellent. There is no Dave Meltzer star rating that can even, like, this is the best. This is just the best that's ever happened.
In my notes for Night of Champions, I wrote, Rhea versus Natalya was exactly what it needed to be.
It was. It's the greatest. It was actually exactly what it needed to be.
It was exactly
and what Natalya took a nice beating for Rhea, and it was, I mean, you're building this Rhea character, and I'm happy to see that they are. They know what they got. They figured out what they got with Rhea, and they're gonna fucking milk it as they should.
Dom is just along for the ride, man.
Oh, it's so good.
Right?
It's
so good. And then did you see because Max Caster said that thing in his rap with the Acclaimed, and then Rhea Ripley tweeted back, and she said, hey Dom, like, we're over in 2 companies or something like that. Just fucking amazing.
Oh, it's so good.
Buddy Matthews just over here, just like grumpy face, like just like arms crossed. God damn it, Riz, don't.
He tweeted something grumpy too, which came off kind of cringy. I don't remember what it was.
I'll look it up in a second.
Who Buddy did? Buddy tweeted.
I'll look it up. You guys keep talking.
No, so we'll move.
With in all honesty, during that match, one of my dogs had threw up on the rug. So I was actually a little busy during that match, but
it was.
You speak highly of it, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
It was piss break. It was definitely piss break. I'm not gonna lie. Match of the night, piss break. Then you got Cody and Brock, and I have some just fundamental issues with this one. I was obviously, the whole build with this is that Brock had broken Cody's arm, and that Cody was, refusing to get medical treatment to, because otherwise he would be not allowed to compete in the match.
But he somehow got his hands on it.
But then the next thing, so that was the way that Raw ended. And then we get to the pay-per-view, and they're like, here's Cody with the doctor. And then Cody's got this new titanium cast so that so that he can compete. Okay, that's sort of fine because I get what they're gonna do in a sense. Like, they're gonna now use the cast as a weapon. Well, my biggest problem is I remember fucking Lex Luger back in the day. And Lex Luger had a goddamn steel plate in his arm. And he had to cover that steel plate with a pad on it because it could be used as a weapon. You remember this, Matthew? You remember when Lex Luger had a plate in his arm?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a plate in his arm, and it was underneath his skin from an operation. He had some injury, and he got a plate in his steel plate in his arm.
Didn't they mention that on commentary?
Well, no, they didn't, and this is what bothered me.
I think they did.
Maybe they did, but they didn't reference it the right way because like Lex Luger used to have to wear a fucking pad over the top of his steel plate so that he wouldn't be a cheating fucking piece of shit because he was a babyface.
Cody's hurt.
No,
rules are different.
No,
it's a gray area in wrestling, though, isn't it? I mean, like Roman Reigns' bulletproof vest, which protects him from body shots.
D'Lo Brown with his steel plate. D'Lo Brown had the body plate too. He had that.
Yep.
Okay,
I mean,
fair.
Bianca Belair with the braid. I mean, it's these wrestlers using. I mean, and even too when you think about like Mick Foley with the sock, like how the hell was the sock legal? How was that legal? Like, but it was.
I get what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to keep both Cody and Brock protected in the same match. We can't have Brock lose again, and we can't have Cody lose completely on like the 1, 2, 3 clean. So you gotta have Brock get beat up by his fucking Cody's titanium cast or whatever the hell he's got on. This could very easily be solved with a stipulation. This is what makes me angry, is that they didn't think about this. This was a last-minute decision. It would have been very, very simple. Instead of it being just a one-on-one singles match.
The sad thing is, I think they did think about this.
Well, all you have to do is call it, right. Because they kept calling it, I want to fight. All right, call it a street fight. Call it a no DQ. Whatever the fuck you want to brand it as. I don't give a shit.
Show up in some jeans,
but make it be legal. But make it be legal under the rules of the match that Cody can use his cast. Otherwise, he is a shitty fucking babyface. Like, this is not a babyface move to be using the foreign object that is on your arm to hit your opponent. Not a babyface move. Shouldn't be doing that. When Lex Luger,
but in the storyline,
when Lex Luger pulled that thing off and used it, you knew he was a heel. This is the point. Is that they didn't abide by the rules of wrestling.
Because they wanted you to feel bad for him, though, because he's that freshly injured.
Yeah, they're making him even more the underdog, but I agree. It was a dumb way to get there.
It's not a babyface move.
The goal is there's going to be a third match, right?
Of course there is.
And it's going to be something like a hell
last night and said, Brock, I'll post my whole schedule for the next few months on media or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can show up anytime, any place, and I will be there, and you can wrestle me, which means what? They're going to do SummerSlam?
It's got to be in a Hell in a Cell, right? That's got to be the third match. Cody versus Brock. I mean, it seems like that would be where
Cody's going to have a torn bicep and a broken arm and a broken leg, possibly a broken neck.
I mean, that's triple threat. This is what they're gonna do.
Cody trying to get himself over, trying to get the fans to love him.
They're gonna fuck it up.
And the WWE audience will eat that up.
They're gonna fuck it up. They're gonna fuck it up. They're gonna do a triple threat with Cody and Brock with Seth for that belt. That's probably what they're gonna do.
That would be interesting. Yeah, that could happen.
And with this belt, like, Seth's gonna hold it for a while.
He should.
If you need it to mean, if you want it to mean anything, he needs to hold it for a while.
Honestly,
what titles are gonna change hands in a while, especially with the news, in the recent.
If they're smart, with this one,
WWE wants to have longer title reigns.
Yep.
If they're smart with this one, you actually have Finn Balor be the guy to take it off Seth Rollins.
That would be a good.
Given the Universal.
They might do Damian Priest over Finn Balor, though.
I mean, either of those guys, that's your top heel faction on that.
That's what you should do. That's what you should do.
Seth's gonna have a long run. I think by the time he's done, we're all gonna be ready for him to give that title up.
Yeah.
I feel like it might overstay its welcome a little bit. I'm not sure.
I could see it.
They could piss people off and put it on Dom. Like that would be like Dom is a transitional champion. Oh.
That belt.
I'd be so happy if they had the balls to do that, to be honest with you, just to do it for a couple weeks or a month or something. Why not?
And then he could talk about how he's the greatest champion and
and his real dad Eddie would be proud of him because he's a heavyweight champion and all that. Like he could play into that. Like there's a lot they can do to that.
Is Ray on Raw or is he on SmackDown? Okay.
They separated him for that.
Wild card rule or whatever.
Matthew, you seem to have a real good grasp on these drafts, like on who's on what roster.
I watched them all.
You are our draft king. You've been to every draft. They always come to Colorado. They always come to Denver. You're kind of like the draft master.
I'm very well versed in drafts and I hate them, but I can't. I want them to stop, but when they're there, I can't look away.
Yep.
For some reason, because I want it to mean something. It's like I'm searching for meaning. It's like I'm searching for light in like a room of darkness. Like just some little thing to show me there's a little gleam of hope. But so, I think Owen and I talked about it. Jay, did we talk about it? What do you think of that new title?
I like the look of it. I like how they're doing kind of that more detailed and intricate design. There's a McMahon family crest on it, which I think is a lion.
So there's like 4 lions,
which is interesting.
I didn't know it was a McMahon crest. I saw the lion. I didn't know that was a McMahon.
There's 3 or 4 of them. There's one on each side, and then there's one at the bottom. I don't know if there's a crown on the top, maybe. But it.
Yeah, there is a crown at the top. Yep, I've seen that.
The lions are definitely the McMahon family crest.
Oh, so it's like it's their crest kind of like embedded with the other shit all around it? Is that what they did?
Yep.
I never knew that.
They combined. So here, I'll
with the big gold belt. They made it look like the big gold belt, but with the
and that's why I like it. Is it does remind me a lot of the big gold belt, which if I'm being honest, is while WCW wasn't my favorite promotion, that is my definite favorite belt of that era.
Boo this man.
Boo this man. It was just such a nice looking belt. It was big,
it's gorgeous,
detailed, and it looked like it weighed what do they call it? 1,000 pounds of gold or
10 pounds of gold is the NWA championship, but yeah.
Oh, there you go. But it's just freaking. It was a beautiful.
It is a gorgeous belt. It's just second. Second to me to the winged angel, winged eagle. The winged eagle is the belt of belts to me. Like
I can get that. Yeah.
This belt, just when I look at it online and I look at the detail, I like it way better than when I see it on TV because. The way it comes off on TV, you don't see the detail because of how bright the lights are and the way that the cuts are on everything. You
might be too shiny.
Well, you can't make out that those are lions on TV, and even when they showed it the first time,
it just looks like leafing. It looks
like that's what I thought it was. I was until I saw it. So when I see it online and in pictures, I'm like, the cooler looking belt than when I see it. And I thought, and I'd said, I think to one of you on the podcast, that I needed to see someone with it, right? To make me, and it kind of feels like a toy. Like seeing Seth Rollins with it on Monday.
It looked good on his shoulder. It looked good when he was holding it up.
It looked good around his waist.
But around his waist, I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that. Like,
especially with the big shoulder pads. It looked like a small belt.
It did.
Yeah.
A small belt.
It's a step in the right direction, though. I like that they've taken a chance with the new belt. I like that it's not just a big goddamn W, right? Like, so I can't be. Yeah. I guess I can't be that mad at it when we're comparing to what the alternative is, right?
That's true.
Right,
so,
for sure.
So I'll just run it down real quick. Is so the crest and the crown. So there's a 3 lion design surrounding the WWE logo. It represents the McMahon family crest. The crest has been seen on previous titles dating back to the 1990s, where it was emblazoned on one of the belt's side plates with the Latin words "Sic Nos Sic Saka Temor," which
means Vince McMahon's suck my.
I feel like, yeah. I feel like it's just sexually assaulted.
I think you just summoned
it. That's Vince's way of saying suck my cock.
Yeah. Then there's the the globe, the eagle, which is a nod to the winged eagle.
Yeah,
that's what that is. The diamonds. So there's 60 diamonds mounted on the plates. Form the premiere of the World Heavyweight Championship. Shimmering objects are to celebrate 60 years of WWE.
Yeah.
And then they have like all the filigree around that. And then the ropes, if you look around the edges, which you can't see on TV, you have to see it online.
It's like rope edging.
It's like rope etching surrounding actual full thing, which is kind of cool.
Do we know the lineage of it yet? We still haven't been given a lineage,
brand new
right?
lineage.
Like,
brand new
so
lineage.
It's a brand new lineage because WWE just posted the other day that Roman Reigns is about to break not the 1,000-day record, but the other, not the
400 something day with the other one,
434-day title of blah blah. And I was like, you united them and said they were.
I contend that they are not united. They are not united.
They have very clearly stated that. Now they're saying
they're not. They're not.
And they need to do it to make the brand split feel real.
Well, there's no way. Owen and I talked about it. What are you going to do? You can't separate them.
Those belts will be separated. Those belts will be separated.
You're going to have
because Cody Rhodes is going to win them, and because he's such a gentleman, he's going to be like, I don't want the Universal title. This is for a new challenger.
And then come to WWE and fucking take them from him.
Well, there you go. Hey, and can I really quickly take something back? My favorite belt wasn't the big gold belt. It was Daniel Bryan's hippie belt. That thing was freaking beautiful. Cool. Oh yeah, that was cool. That was best.
Yeah,
you could smoke.
I want him.
You wouldn't get high, but you could smoke it.
It would calm me down.
Yeah,
I want him to win the AEW title so they can make an AEW version of that belt. That would be a sick looking belt.
Hey, by the way, did you notice on the Shop Zone, AEW Shop Zone, Daniel Bryan's shirt is the only one you could get in organic cotton.
Really?
Which I think is it's the one of just his face where they you could get that in 100% organic cotton, and it's the only one.
That's hilarious.
Yes. I like that.
So let's talk about the main event then of Night of Champions and how it all, of course, ended up. The match was, I thought, very entertaining. First off, to have Sami come down in I don't know the traditional garb, the Muslim garb, whatever you call it. There's a name. Do you know? I don't know. What he was wearing, but whatever he was wearing, I was just like, this is like, there's something about it because you could tell it meant, like, wrestling aside, you could tell it meant something to him to come out in that. He didn't have
pop of his life.
He didn't have to come out to that, and bigger than the one he got in fucking Canada, right? Like even the day before, you had the chance at the press conference of welcome home. Like, this is already coming. Like, and they're saying that to him as he's coming down. Amazing job of all the presentation with the in-ring announcements, right? You've got Paul Heyman, who's not gonna let Mike Rome introduce Solo and Roman. He's going to snatch that microphone away. He's going to introduce themselves, and in typical Paul Heyman fashion, he does. But then to have Sami Zayn do exactly the same thing, to take it and introduce themselves in Arabic.
Yeah, that
was such...
The crowd just popped for that, too.
But what a class act. Like, what a classy move. And oh, shit, can you look this up, one of you? Matthew, can you look this up for me real quick?
Yeah.
Can you look up exactly what Sami Zayn said in Arabic? I've seen it posted somewhere. But what exactly the translation of what he said in Arabic when he grabbed that microphone before that match? Because I think it was, it wasn't like much, but it was enough to, it got that crowd over, even 10 times more for him, right?
Yep. So I just clicked on the first one that popped up.
Whatever you found.
It is ringside news, so it's probably...
Well, it's probably trash, but let's read it anyway.
And I said somewhat okay.
Yeah.
So, calm down.
Yeah.
Pray to the prophet. We are in an Arab country. We have an Arab champion. Do we?
Tag team champion. Arab champion.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was like,
wait, what?
Yeah.
We're gonna do this in Arabic. introducing the prize fighter, now in English, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. Although, I will say, it sounded like it took a lot more words to say that.
It did.
In my mind, if I remember, I know nothing about Arabic.
It sounded
definitely
longer.
one of those languages where it's
yeah,
the words are a little longer. The phrases are longer.
Okay.
I still like it though because he's obviously it's pandering, but it's here.
I thought it was
I'm
great.
here.
He speaks it fluidly.
I thought it was great that they allowed him to do that.
Yeah.
That's
And
I
he
think the
speaks it
most
fluidly,
surprising.
and they loved it, and that was a huge pop for him.
That translated as a baby face to anyone on the planet that supports and watches wrestling in the slightest, right? Like it didn't matter if you knew Arabic or not. It translated to what it was. And yeah, maybe I'm not like a supporter of Allah. It doesn't matter. It was just the point of what he was saying to those people there. And no matter how you feel about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and I have some thoughts, the people are not the problem. The people, the general people
like
are just wrestling fans.
The government is the problem.
Exactly.
It's not the people who live there.
And I think that's almost part of what came across in some of like what he was saying and with the support, like
and the crowd reaction.
That's what I got.
Everything a lot more.
That's what I got at least. And the match itself was a really, really solid match. I will never get tired of seeing KO yell things at people and just demolish them. Like, it will be forever my favorite thing. KO might be one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And the match was just a really good storytelling match, from start to finish. And then, of course, with the finish, to have the Usos come in when they did. Now, let's break this down, guys. Like, what are your thoughts on it? Where do they go logically? And what do you want them to do with this falling apart of the bloodline? And is this the end now, you think, for at least Sami KO with the bloodline? Or, like, is that part done, you think? Or
I hope so. I think it has to be. I mean, Sami said recently in a podcast interview that, like, I wasn't even supposed to be this big of a story in this. And he's like, so I'm just grateful that I got to do
says
the
he
part.
changed his life, right? Like,
yeah,
it was.
But then he says, like, but I, like, it is done. Like, it's done now. Which I really hope so.
And it felt like it was because I wish Sami had gotten the pin on Roman. It would have felt a lot more done than having Sami get the pin on Solo. I'm fine with it, I guess, but it would have felt a lot more done.
That's Solo's first loss, isn't it?
No, he had one.
Maybe he got one earlier. Recently, they made a big deal out of it.
He's lost in tag. He's lost in tag before. He's never lost solo, I believe. That's
because he's so
bad pun.
Yeah, he should go as a Solo cup for Halloween.
Yeah, bring out the little red cup.
Yeah, I'd love that.
You ever seen him in an interview? Because he's kind of nerdy. It's funny, like, watching him in an interview. He seems young, kind of nerdy, and like.
I just see like pictures of him.
He's totally the younger brother.
Like,
yeah. He's totally the younger brother. Yeah.
I will say that I thought, no, I lost it. I got too stoned.
Happens, brother.
It does. Yeah, it was something about the match.
But I feel like they're getting to a point where the tag team titles are being held up on both sides. I love KO and I love Sami, and I really like the storyline. But now is the time we're splitting brands. Now is the time to get the tag team belts on both sides into the tag team divisions. And whether we're putting it back on the Usos over on what they're on SmackDown. And and if KO and Sami lose somebody,
if you do that, then you could have Usos versus Solo and I mean, I guess you run that.
I figure out. I know how you do this, by the way. With how Sami KO, they have both the tag team belts. Well, there's eventually going to be an Adam Pearce thing where he's going to come out and he's going to say, "Guys, we can't
I would say I don't believe whatever is about to come out of your mouth, because apparently you have to call shit in
to himself.
Yeah,
over on your show. That'd be great if they actually did that. Like Adam,
I
actually on
that
Friday
story.
answering the call from Raw,
like answering.
Oh
from
my
the past.
think what they're gonna do is something stupid because you can't have Sami and KO together forever anyway.
No,
like that's like.
But you don't want to see them against each other again because we've seen that so many times.
So you got to separate them. You got to put it on different brands. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have. So one of them is gonna take one of the set of tag team belts. He's gonna have to find a partner, and the other one's gonna go to the other brand, and he's gonna have to fucking like find another partner, and you're gonna have Riddle and fucking KO or someone over here, whatever with Sami, and that's how you split them, and then one of them gets win by the Usos or something by eventually. But like that to me is kind of the logical KO Sami split. They did what they needed to do. They won. They got their thing, and now they're gonna split. But they do
whatever we have to do to get them on Pretty Deadly. It's fine.
Oh, it's gonna happen. That's probably by the end of the year. I mean, very very clearly. I'll talk about some other NXT tag teams who I think probably have a shot at that, and they need to kind of be looking at, to be honest with you. And also some tag teams that I think that need to get some more credit on the main roster. I need to see some more love for my model boys, my Mason Mansoors. Like I love me some Maximum Male Models. I think they're doing great character work, and I think they're underappreciated right now.
I feel like they've been getting a good amount of TV time.
I think they're killing it, but they need to actually get the sneaky win every once in a while. Like,
that still? I mean, they might still be a thing, but do they still have Maxine and Otis? Because last or 2 nights ago on Raw,
so they're with the Maxine's with.
She went with Alpha Academy.
Yeah, she's with Alpha Academy with Otis. So Alpha Academy reformed with Maxine with them. So Maxine's not with them. So they're on their own, which I think is gonna be funny.
Someone called, was it Cody last night who called him American Alpha? And then
I think it was
he was
Cody.
Like, oh wait, no, Alpha, and he's
yeah. Someone fucked it up. You're right. I think it was Cody. But in general, like back to just like the end of that pay-per-view to like how this has been going with Jimmy and Jay and Roman. I didn't expect it to be Jimmy to finally be the one to break.
I'm glad it was. It's good storyline.
It is very good storytelling. I can see this going in a couple different ways. I think that we are obviously eventually going to get a Roman Solo versus Usos match. I think that's definitely pay-per-view worthy, and I think that that's going to happen at some point. But I also think what's even bigger and what should probably happen if they're smart is I would be developing the is Jay with Roman scenario, or is he with his brother Jimmy? Jimmy's already turned. Is Jay gonna support his brother? Right, that's what they're telling. So I can see a great triple threat in that. And then that brings us back to a good old main event that we might, buy into. Could Jay possibly be the guy to finally take it off Roman? Like, all these things are really, really interesting. Also, where does Solo go? Does Solo align still over time? Does he align with Roman, or does he align with the Usos, or does he go solo?
They are going to. There are so many ways they could go with this, and you're not saying
that's what makes it exciting. It's why I'm excited after this pay-per-view, and why I'm saying that wrestling's in a better place, because we've got so many options.
Yeah, that's true. Your camera's mad blurry, by the way.
I just saw that. I don't know what happened with this one. I'll figure it. It's not. Okay. It's not the one I use on the stream. It's just the one.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought I'd let you know. I didn't know if it was on the stream.
Right.
But really quickly, they're gonna overbook it, and they're gonna have like Rikishi come in and say he's gonna be the guest referee, and they're gonna have a fatal 4-way, and then The Rock's gonna. You're great now. Then The Rock's going to be an enforcer or something. Show up that night and be the enforcer. And then Stone Cold's going to show up and stun The Rock into a rock bottom or something. They're going to overbook this shit somehow.
For sure. They're going to overbook it like a Fast and Furious movie. Like
the run you're on. So, by the way, Owen, let's get kayfabe with me for real quick. Did you know that Mr. Double J Jansen over here has been on a run.
I do know about
the
this.
Fast and Furious movies.
I do know about this. I've even talked about it with my wife, and because Jay
it's kind of made me want to watch.
Yeah, well, I've been following Jay's post about his in-depth analysis of every Fast movie and how he's like chosen to like, okay, I've watched these, but they say to skip this one and then come back to this one.
Between 6 and 7.
Yeah. So I'm pretty damn familiar with what's going on in this world, and so I tried. I'm not gonna lie, I tried the other night to watch the newest one that's on Peacock. I think it's 9.
It's 9. Yeah.
9.
Oh, you went, but did you went 9 out the gate?
So I've seen 1, 2, and 3 already back in the day. I've seen 1, 2, and 3, but I'm like, let's see where this thing has gone. I skipped straight to 9, and boy, oh boy, was it terrible. And
I could imagine going right into that. Like that could be like that'd be like watching a DDT event for your first wrestling.
I did not understand it, so I'm the one that I made the mistake. I definitely jumped in head first into the shallow end of the pool here. But I'm not. It doesn't mean that I'm not gonna like maybe go back and try and redo this, because this whole Fast, this is the bloodline, the fast
is that is, what's his name, Dominic Toretto,
family. I hate Vin Diesel. I'm not a Vin Diesel fan at all, but
go into the Roman Reigns realm though.
It does, yeah, he kind of does. And what's the whole family thing is almost cliche. The movie's really become a caricature of himself after, I think it happens around Fast 4 or something. And it's funny because the whole reason I got into it was actually because of a wrestling podcast. Mark Maron and his producer has been taking him through wrestling, because he never, even though he was on that show Glow, he had never seen a wrestling match.
Yeah.
And so his producer wanted him to connect with something through an audience. So I with a lot of time after my mother's death, I was like, what is something that is really big that I could just start clean on and see if I can pick it up and figure out what's the deal behind it is. And that's what I ended up.
It's hilarious.
Was the Fast and the Furious.
You need to
franchise.
do it. I'm sure it's been done.
I'm gonna do Hobbs and Shaw tonight, so that's my next entry.
That's the next one. Well, I feel like you need to at least start doing some YouTube summaries or giving us some reviews.
Oh, there's gonna be my degree's in film, so
sure, yeah.
There's gonna be something at the end of this. But yeah, it's been there's also a podcast where these two guys, they'll go through and they just watch him over and over again, and they call them on laps, and they're on like the 7th lap now. and I forgot what this podcast is called, but every time they just talk about, okay, this is the 7th time we watch it. What's different this time? What are we picking up? And I'm like, holy crap! That's a lot.
When I just threw myself when I threw myself into this deep end, right, with number 9, and yeah, years ago I saw a couple of the other ones, but when I was just, there is clearly, like, the acting is terrible. You don't watch it for that. But there's clearly so much going on, and the dialogue is ridiculous, because they have to address every character that's maybe died or like still alive that has relations to this person, and like, oh yeah, cousin Carol, she's dead, but she used to date so and so who was the bad guy in this thing.
The book. Did you guys ever read 100 Years of Solitude? That book, like, it is a very famous old, like, it comes with a family tree and map, because everyone's like named the same and everything. And so like
that would be helpful. Make
you're
that
constantly referring back to the map while you're reading it to understand
like
what's
the
happening.
Post-it notes with the lines, like that meme of Charlie from Sami.
Jay,
exactly.
If that hasn't already been done, you need to start making your own Fast and the Furious family tree maps and sell them online. Make them like really pretty with like make them out of car parts, like graphic design.
That might be too much.
Like,
no, they're just
you can make a lot of money on this. Let's make a poster.
And 8 was the one I watched. 7 was the one I watched on mushrooms the other night. So that was I think them outrunning the nuclear submarine, it just on ice, oh my god. Chef's kiss. Can I say one more thing about Solo Sikoa?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me going back to that.
Sure.
I feel like if they do have him go solo, because he's not quite there in promos yet. In fact, he's still got a way to work. I wouldn't be surprised to see him with Heyman. I think that would be a good pairing, because Heyman could get that same kind of like Brock Lesnar, Heyman energy behind Solo. And yep. And that's all he needs to do is just stand there and just.
Just depends on how long Roman's gonna hold on to those titles before he takes the break. Like a
break.
Yeah, well, he's like
a fishing
me.
Trip.
He needs another vacation, a vacation within a vacation within a vacation.
Tough being on top.
Yeah,
but no, like that dude.
It's not like he's doing promo. He's not the face of the company. Like that's the thing that I don't get, because what is he doing with all this time? Because he's not like going out and making wishes.
I told you this.
He's not making the media
fucking Mandy Rose. It's what he's been doing. We know this. He's been just fucking Mandy Rose. This is it.
Yeah.
This is
making extra.
He's not a household name.
OnlyFans content.
Yeah.
But see, and that's the problem. That's the problem the WWE's going to have, especially in 10 years when they go back to the Legends world.
Yeah.
They do this. We keep going to the Legends world of 10 or 20 years ago on DX and all this stuff. Who are we going to have in 10, 20 years? Except for the bloodline and except for people like KO and Sami, like they're not building those new stars.
Yeah,
Seth's gonna be in there, but it's not a lot. Like it's Seth's only got good in the last year or so, and there's not a ton that you can use. It's not gonna his goofy outfit shit's not gonna age well. Like it's just not. It's just not. Like it's not aged well already, to be honest. But that's not gonna age well. It's not gonna age like Roman. It's not gonna age like. That's why they got to do it with Cody, right? Eventually, they've got to do something there, and they will. They're probably gonna wait till next WrestleMania.
I feel like he's got to just be heel eventually,
before he gets the title.
Maybe I don't know. I just feel like I already don't care. So
I mean, it's tragic, isn't it?
If I'm booking
they totally did.
If I'm booking this, it's almost literally the day after he wins the title, he turns heel. It's literally the day after that. I finally did it. Fuck you, people. Fuck the doubters. Like I've been pandering to you this whole time. I think there's a way that you can do that really effectively. And I think that you can have that instant switch really, really turn. You get your moment with the big, glorious American dream nightmare, dusty thing. Then you get the next day what we really want, which is a heel Cody Rhodes, because that's what we wanted the whole time in AEW. Don't tell us we didn't.
I just think the moment has passed.
It hasn't.
The moment will be big, I guess, but it'll never have everything that it could have had he beat him and gotten it at Mania, and then turn those two titles into maybe even that Winged Eagle version that people were leaking online that someone photoshopped or whatever.
Looked fucking rad,
you could do that, and that's how you then dissolve those two.
I don't think it's
into
there.
Something you had.
They had the perfect chance.
But you chose to keep going.
I'm okay with the decision. I'll be honest with you. I'm okay with the decision as long as he's going to win the Rumble again next year, and we're going to go on round 2. That's what I think is going to happen.
But
that's boring.
It's
like
Gunther.
we're going into the Rumble knowing who's going to win again. I want to be surprised. I don't care. I understand they're talking about making champions last longer now. But honestly, I kind of like how AEW is doing it, because they're building top people. They're building a strong top card right now with one person holding the title for however long and whatever. They're not building anybody. Everyone's lost to Roman, and if Cody's going to be the only guy now, it's what's the payoff of watching this next year? Because it's just going to be.
I think there's more. I think there's more to it. I do think Gunther falls into this scenario, and I think
you're right. Yeah,
they're saying Gunther Cody for Mania 40, not Cody Roman.
Yeah, it's to me, I think Cody has to be.
Cody has the world.
Everybody seems to think that Cody has to win it in Mania. He doesn't have to win it in Mania. I think he's gonna win it way before that, and I think that he has to be the one to pin Roman. To be honest with you, I think he does.
SummerSlam would be believable. I could take that.
That's kind of what I'm thinking as well.
I think they're gonna put Brock and Cody. That's what we're looking at for SummerSlam. It is fucking May 31st. Tomorrow is June 1st.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know.
2.5 months out.
That's true.
SummerSlam.
That's true.
What we will do though is we will take a little bit of a break. We need 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. We'll take a little bit of a pisser. I gotta pee. And we will take a little bit of a break and come back with a ton more talk. This time about the second pay-per-view. The second of 3. Jesus Christ. We won't spend too long on the third. But the second of 3 pay-per-views of the weekend. We need to talk about AEW's Double or Nothing. And let me play some music. You good to take 10, Matthew? You good over there, guys? Yeah. All right. Well, let me throw on some stupid music, and then we'll take a little bit of a break, and we'll get back to you in just a few. Oh, why is this broken now? Why is everything broken?
It's broken.
Everything's
broken. You're blurry.
You're blurry again.
I tell you what, dude. It's my life these days. It's just like
blurry Owen.
It's just blurry. Yeah, it's actually how I look in real life.
Always out of focus.
The following is that's the wrong thing.
Yeah, I heard that.
I'm sure you did. You shouldn't have. Oh, well, just play that. One of my programs died. Deal with it. We'll be back in a little bit, and we'll do more wrestling talk. Oh, what did we say? Oh, we should do that. Hey. Woo! Woo! Yeah, we're back. Second segment of the Ono Wrestling Podcast. I was just using the bathroom there. I was checking the old Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Ono Wrestling.
It's a quiet week this week.
Well, no, my buddy Scotty just posted in there, and I couldn't agree more. I couldn't like pin the tail on the donkey on this one. I couldn't nail it on the head, but motherfucker, he's just like, Juice Robinson looks like the Geico caveman. And I think he does look like the Geico caveman.
Did he play that guy in the TV show? Remember TBS?
Yeah, they did have the TV show. That's right.
For all 3 weeks that existed. But yes, welcome back. It's myself, Owen the Sharpbreak Kid, Matthew the modern day Mataraja, and our newest addition, Double J Jansen.
Yeah, J Jansen.
Yeah, I got it in the end. Yeah,
or Action Jansen. I will. Before we move into AEW talk, because I know this is the second half of the show, I do have to say, because I am the modern day Mataraja.
Yeah.
I loved seeing Jinder Mahal on Raw. On Monday night.
Oh, dude.
He showed up. I don't like the group that he's managing, but I like seeing Jinder Mahal in any form. I
want to see Jinder and Drew reunite. I want some, even if it's not that, right? Seriously, I need to see more personality from Jinder, other than like, you're a dude with Indian heritage. Like I need more than that. And I think that he has so much more to offer. If he had a better finisher, he would actually be, kind of a, something they could do more with. He's not a bad wrestler. He's not a bad promo. Just give him something to work with.
It's like what is his finisher?
The Colossus.
But is it like a crossbody type thing?
It's like a crossbody body slam type.
Yeah, and he could never make it look real clean and good.
I think back in '83, that would have looked like a devastating finishing maneuver, right?
Yeah.
A guy like him should do a sleeper hold.
Oh, yeah. That would work great. That would work, something like that. Just almost something similar to Miro's camel clutch ish. Like you could do something like that. Like the I forgot what Miro calls it now, but
you'll have a chance to find out on Collision. Possibly,
maybe we will.
He's on the commercials.
More Miro.
Also is Samoa Joe, who is in Ring of Honor. So
I guess
I don't understand what AEW is doing with their promotions.
Well, we're going to get to that, but before we do, I have to say that it was surprising to me because, man, I took as predictions champion, I took a shot in the armor there on
wait.
Night of Champions. Night of Champions, Jay Jansen came out as our new champion.
Oh, I had no idea.
Jay Jansen.
But I was just a transitional champion.
I'm going personally for the longest reigning non-champion.
Oh, that's your new.
If you'll remember in 2021, 2022, I had some long ass runs. Long fucking runs.
Well, it doesn't matter the length of my run.
I support Double J Jansen taking that title off you transitionally for a night.
Well, unfortunately, yes, it was. It was just for a night, and this man, I got it back. I got it back with 7-6 to 5. On the next night, and some of my outlandish predictions, well, they came true, didn't they? Like sometimes it takes a real champion to take a bet on themselves and to just really roll the dice and see how things are gonna go. And I feel like, as much as I'm making a joke right now, that's kind of what this whole pay-per-view felt like. This pay-per-view felt disjointed. This pay-per-view felt like Vegas. It felt like it was all over the goddamn place.
It didn't feel as big as, I mean, we kind of hit on it at the top of the show, but it did not feel as big as it has in the past for Double or Nothing, or for any AEW pay-per-view. Like, I was excited because there was an AEW pay-per-view and I was like over all the storylines and such. We already hit on that. But beyond that, like for a Double or Nothing, and Owen and I were at the inaugural Double or Nothing with Duncan. And it just didn't seem as special.
I agree with that. I want to like look a little bit before we get too deep into the matches and whatever happened on the card. Let's look at Double or Nothing in general. First year, Las Vegas, 2019. Second year, pandemic. The first pay-per-view of AEW in the pandemic. I believe that was the first. It was also the last. So they had 5 in between, all of them at Daly's Place. We had 2 Double or Nothings at Daly's Place. Then we moved it back last year to Vegas, and now we had another Vegas. Is it time to abandon Vegas? The crowds don't seem great. We're tired of going there as wrestling fans for events. Have they worn the welcome out for big shows in Vegas? Because I'm beginning to think yes.
I think they expanded into the T-Mobile Arena, and I think that made it bigger, but like the crowd and it wasn't just hardcore AEW fans coming to the show at like the Garden Arena, like the MGM Garden Arena.
And not what it was in those years at Daly's Place during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because even that was hardcore wrestling fans, right? That had to go to that. Like the original show, the first ever AEW pay-per-view. Yes, of course it's going to be diehards. Then you get like the years at Daly's Place. Those are also going to be pretty diehards, or live in Jacksonville, bit of both, but pretty diehard. Now we're out of that, and it doesn't work. Now it feels just like pretty bog standard something.
It felt pretty like, even with the set design and everything, it just felt kind of like,
They gave me a barbed wire poker chip in the end, so I was sort of happy.
Well,
but it's
you
not
had mentioned where's the poker chip, and then you finally got it. But regardless,
no,
like,
but that was pandering. That was pandering.
I just also feel like when you are something like AEW, and with what you're able to do, and with Wembley coming up and everything, like if you are doing 4 pay-per-views a year, like we were talking about at the top of the show, make them big. Make a set design. Make it like. Do something to set it apart and make it.
Well, we've said it time and time again. Like, I get it why they have to do the big, tons of screens and stuff for TV or whatnot. But do that for pay-per-views. I'm sure you have to do that too.
Yeah, but do some.
But then add to it, right?
But don't.
There's a big enough stage that you could have put 2 big stacks of poker chips on either side. Or a big slot machine that could have gone on someone's head or something.
You
do that,
also
please.
Just had like regular poker chips stacked up in the middle as opposed to the digital ones,
right?
And still had all your screens.
I mean, we're paying enough for the pay-per-views. They should at least be able to invest in the sets a bit more.
Seriously,
totally agree with you.
It was a bone of contention for me, but overall, like, yeah, it's more for me that the Vegas shtick has kind of gotten old as well. I get with the name Double or Nothing, you're going to want it to be in a gambling city, and everybody always says, oh, let's go to Atlantic City and everything. No, just ditch the gambling shtick. It's easy. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that fucking show in any city you want to.
Partnership and that kind of,
Okay. Do it in Biloxi. I don't know.
It's just completely ridiculous, by the way, but yeah. It is what it is.
There's enough towns in this country that have gambling.
Do it on a casino riverboat on the Mississippi. Double or Nothing, and have a casino.
That would actually be pretty cool.
It's like the Jericho Cruise. It's moving
casino
as
riverboat
it's going.
Which is anarchy on the river.
Raging
on the river.
Raging on the river. Raging Cajun on the river. That's when you bring Bray Wyatt in as well. That's when he finally gets to AEW. Tony Khan brings him in. Yeah. And Braun, and somehow he's gonna resurrect the skeleton. He's gonna have the skeleton of Brody Lee there, and he's gonna be there. And
By the way, he looks really good in the new game. I don't know if either of you are gonna Fight Forever game, but man, they released some pictures of his character.
Yeah, how'd they figure that one out? How'd they get that 3D scan of the?
Hey, yeah, that's a good point. I don't know,
good.
But yeah, that Eddie Kingston one looked real rough. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was
there was new ones. I saw the ones you're talking about, but then they've released new ones today to actually counteract it, and they're fine. Like it looks fine. It's perfectly good with Eddie Kingston. I still don't know. Like, I'm just not a gamer anymore, right? So like, I have no like dog in this fight, but. I think it'll feel like fun, and I'll play it once or twice. I just don't see it being like I don't see it like taking off or anything. I think they think it's going to be a way bigger deal than it is. Like, is that
right?
You know, like I think Tony Khan and Kenny feel like it's going to be this like cultural phenomenon or something. I'm like, it's just a wrestling video game, guys. Like, I'm sorry to tell you this, it's not going to be like No Mercy.
Yeah, it's been in development for a while. I think part of the reason
they went on pre-sale like a year ago.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why it's generating a different type of buzz is because they're building a lot around nostalgia, like the old. I don't know if either of you have played the old No Mercy game.
Yeah, I have. And
64, I think it was. Yeah, and it's the same group. Jax, or I don't remember. But I loved No Mercy, and even though the graphics aren't up to, because I do play WWE 2K23, even though the graphics don't seem quite as on par, they look like it nails like the arcade feeling that No Mercy had.
That's what they're going for,
which is something. It's
a different style of game, which is smart that they're going for something different rather than the hyper realistic type of like sports game. They're going
because
for more of
WWE 2K23 is a simulation. That's what it is.
It's incredible the way they do that.
Yeah.
What were your overall thoughts though on this pay-per-view? I mean, like, I gave it, I think in my head, I'm like an 8 out of 10, something like that. It might be lower, it might be higher, but it's somewhere around there.
7 and 8, like around 7.5, 7.7.
So we're in the same range, all of us. Then, you know,
I think it's back to earlier. I think maybe it was you, Jay, who said it, but it was like the last 2 matches really did it.
I've heard people call this
bones to pick with those. I mean, as with everything, but but there were some good matches along the way.
This is the thing. This is the thing.
That shit off the top of the ladders was nuts.
I've heard it being called a 2-match pay-per-view, and I think that's a really.
It was a double main event. They did book it as that.
But people are saying it's like the only 2 matches worth watching, and I disagree with that wholeheartedly. If anything, there are 4 great matches on that pay-per-view, and I would even give it 5. Right? Like so, and we'll walk through.
What are your 4?
Well,
did you like the Hardy Party match that much, Owen?
Yeah, that's 5.
I mean, it was. I've never seen Jeff move so fluidly around the ring as he did in that match. Boy, oh boy!
That was a swan
if I was there in that audience and I paid my money to, I'm finally getting to see my hero Jeff Hardy. Well, I guess he delivered, didn't he? He did some he did some interesting maneuvers I've never seen done in a wrestling ring before as he fell off that top rope.
What happens when you're sober?
Yeah, it's exactly. I think if he was drunk, that never would have happened. Like this guy's It's like when you change the oil in an old car. You just got something. Sometimes you just gotta let it run the way it was running. You can never change it. You gotta go. You just let it roll until the end of its time. But yeah, that match was something, and they got to do something with Ethan Page now, and they got to do something with Hook now. The guys in that match didn't put over anyone. Like, no one feels more important. Yeah. Nothing feels any more interesting. In fact, it feels Hook has been sucked into the void of Ethan Page and Matt Hardy. And it's like, that's what it feels like to me. So
eventually he'll have something going on with Jericho or JAS.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks because I like both those guys. I like Ethan Page. I like Matt Hardy, but they just can't get attached. I think Ethan Page's most interesting thing was with Scorpio Sky when they were with what's his name from the UFC or the American Spider.
When he was doing stuff with Dan Lambert and shit. I kind of miss Dan Lambert, to be honest with you.
I kind of do too.
I kind of miss him. I thought he was great.
Served his purpose, and then he left before he overstayed his welcome. But I'm ready to welcome the man.
Oh, yeah. I'd have him back in a heartbeat right now. I think it would be great.
They dropped that entire thing with all of his fighters because they had that
Paige Van Zandt.
Paige Van Zandt,
think
and
of
she was signed.
If they're smart, what if they could do something with him and Punk? Yeah, the UFC ties, like that verbal battle, like there's stuff you can do there if you want.
You could.
There's stuff you can do there. But yeah, the one big takeaway I have from this, and it's that the guns are great. The guns are fucking way better than they're getting credit for. They're fantastic. I think they actually belong in WWE. They really do. Like they are going to be in WWE one day. Like they belong there. I think that they're.
Well, they should go by the name the Thunder Gun Express.
Oh, it'd be good. They can do that all day long. They can do anything they want.
Vince will call them the Ass Boys because unless that's trademarked, Vince will be all over it.
But, and I'm not going to take credit for this. I saw this pointed out online. What if we have a combination of weird Geico caveman Juice Robinson and other Geico caveman Jay White, because he's kind of Geico caveman too, like with his beard,
gun.
And then we
natural fit, isn't it?
They're of course the Bullet Club. What are they? Black and gold now.
Gold, yeah.
Bullet Club Gold. Well,
Bullet Club gun.
You have the guns in the Bullet Club. You've already got that's built in. Actually, those two teams would work together great. And Billy Gunn, if you do not remember, was in the Bullet Club once upon a time.
Oh, was he?
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
So it fits all into a nice little package. Now you've got a real gun club at AEW. Book it. Do it.
One way to do it.
Some way to do it. It's better than black and gold with Juice Robinson and Jay White.
It's just gold.
Now I will say,
You're gonna get a Bullet Club pink or a Bullet Club
platinum, titanium.
So here's the thing.
Elite.
The first match of the official card of the pay-per-view, which was the Battle Royal, right, was a little slow in the beginning, but turned out to be one of the most interesting Battle Royals I've ever seen in my life. 100%. I thought it was tremendous by the end. Before the Final Four, it was good. But after the Final Four, it got great. But even way before the Final Four, that thing was cooking, like in a lot of good ways. It was a weird ass start. There's stuff I can pick apart and don't like about it. Half the dudes being on the outside, some of the rules being really lax on
when you jump in.
That was weird.
A lot of these things are weird. Of course, then Swerve strategically just standing on the ramp until it clears out so we can get in, and like that part I kind of understand, but it wasn't explained, so I have problems with that. But I think it was supposed to do, and like it did other things and in a great way. But what I think it was supposed to do was really help elevate like the feud between Ricky Starks and the Bullet Club. That was one of like and I didn't get any of that at all, because the other stuff going on and the other little mini feuds that were going on and some of the bigger feuds, in my opinion, were way more interesting than anything that was happening with Ricky Starks and Bullet Club Gold in that ring. That should tell you, knock it off. Just cool the jets on that. This was supposed to make me feel like Jay White was a big deal. If that was supposed to be the case, it did not do that. And they have done a poor job of that to this point. I actually thought going into this was going to be Jay White's night, really, and he was going to take that belt. Like, this would have been a perfect opportunity to build a star overnight and knock it out. Like, Jay White's a big deal. He wins the Battle Royal. Now you have a feud with him and Orange for who's the real international champion going forward, right? Like, now we've elevated this guy.
I think he's a big deal for indie wrestling fans.
But he's not a big
deal
but
for
no one else. No one else.
Yeah.
And I still, like, I've seen some of these promos. People rave about, like, how good Jay White. I've seen a ton of his stuff now. It's good. I don't know what, like, this magic Jay White thing that you guys have in your head is with him, but it's just good to me. It's not great. It's not on levels that I've seen done in the last couple weeks better, right? Like, so you've got to prove to me, AEW, why this guy's a big deal. You didn't do that with your Battle Royal. What you did do is you put 4 people in that final. First off, I mean, tremendous job with all the luchadors, just kind of like helping Orange. That goes back to days of old school. Like, some of these guys, know him probably from like weird, Chikaras and DDTs and stuff like that, right? Like, so they all, I mean, and everybody got their spots in, and like, I love all that stuff. But Final 4, what do we got? We got Penta, we got Orange Cassidy, we got Swerve Strickland, and we got Big fucking Bill.
I was not expecting any of those in the Final 4.
All right.
Strickland, maybe. Swerve, I was kind of thinking.
My new favorite wrestler.
Big Bill.
Big Bill. It's Big Bill. Big Bill is the goddamn man. He looked like, dude, they booked him strong as fuck in that match.
They did.
They booked him, and he ate every bit of it with intensity. Like, he killed it. Like, he knew what he was doing. He was there to prove a point in a lot of ways. Like, shoot and kayfabe, right? Like, this guy was there to prove something, and he proved it to me. He proved to me. I would rather see, and this is the big takeaway I had from it at the end of the night after I've thought about it for a couple of days. I think he would be a more interesting TNT champion than fucking Wardlow.
I agree. And he's got the ponytail.
Yeah.
And he's got the ponytail.
He gets a check mark for you,
Yeah.
Wardlow was kind of like Samson. He did like lose a little bit when like he lost his hair.
I swear it
he
makes
lost
him
charisma, which he didn't have a lot of anyway.
It looks like he's not it looks like he's not confident in himself. He used to look confident in himself. He used to look confident and like, I'm a good looking, sexy motherfucking big
like
bitch.
Everything's pulled
And
back.
then
he's lost the war and he's just low now.
Yeah, he's kind of mid. He's mid
low.
Mid-low. Ward mid. I don't know.
He's like, I got to go out of that. I got to grow it out, and I got to go through that weird mid phase. Like,
oh, it's the worst. It's the worst.
It's all awkward, and you can't tie it up yet.
So anyway, I loved the finish to that battle royal though. Orange and Swerve.
Yeah, great on that. I was not expecting. So Jay, you just said that like you kind of thought maybe Swerve would be in that Final 4. For some reason, this caught me off guard. Swerve being the last one in with Orange Cassidy, and I loved it.
I feel like he's the one who's eventually going to take the belt off of him.
It should be at this
point. Swerve's a guy who could do, because Orange Cassidy is already, I mean, we all kind of rolled our eyes when they introduced him to our belt. It was like, my God. But he's really built that belt up. And whoever takes it off of him, they're going to have to keep that same presence. And I think Swerve can definitely be that guy.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of are leading us to that
thing.
Yeah. Oh God, that's awful. What happened to the tattoo guy and not Lesnar? Did we ever figure that
out? Don't talk about my boy like that. The former Parker Boudreaux and those are my boys. That's my Orlando stable. My tattoo boys. You stay away from them. Like they're really gonna be really good and gonna probably dominate the industry one day. You watch.
One day.
But no, Swerve is probably the most likely choice for me to take it off Orange.
Yeah.
That belt's to me probably had some better storylines than any other belt in wrestling in recent months. So I think that they honestly are at this point where they see what they've got with Orange, and that was the trial run. Can you have Orange have a belt? Because we were at one point we were like, can Orange ever really have a title? Can he? And he's proven that clearly, yeah, he can, and that he is flexible enough in his gimmick and his work to be able to make anything work. I think that Orange is at the point where he's going to actually have a feud with MJF very soon. I think he might not win it from MJF.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to take it off him, and I think he's going to be on that next level. And I think that's money, right there.
I love that. He's
Orange and MJF, like what polar opposites, right?
Yeah, he's going to drive him insane by not responding and feeding into his, him yelling at him and doing all this stuff. That's a brilliant
idea. Actually.
He's like the exact opposite. He's just going to sit there and be like, okay.
And they flirted with that idea before, having Orange in top programs. I mean, they had him beat Jericho 3 times.
They did, yeah.
And it's funny because I think we all kind of, when they first brought Orange Cassidy on, we all kind of thought, okay, it's a good gimmick wrestler, but is he going to last? Being on a show every week, and he has.
I can't believe it.
Is he going to be good representing a title? And he does. And what's great about him too is he is one of those guys like Seth Rollins where he can work with just about anybody, and he has a knack for elevating almost everybody he works with in such a way where when they lose, they're not losing. It was still a good match. I think for me with him, it clicked around his match with Pac. That was just freaking
That's an amazing match.
Another man I miss, so I hope we see a lot more of.
We got to get through the pay-per-view first, but Orange Cassidy at the most recent press conference after the payper-view, what he's trying to figure out, if you haven't seen it, he's trying to figure out how to use the belt holder thing, and he just kind of he just throws his belt on the table, and someone a couple minutes later comes along, cleans it up, and puts the belt on the thing, and he's but it's in character, but not. It's just whatever.
Someone in that press conference asked him if he thought he was the best wrestler in the world, and he just goes, "No,
not even close." I think that's his words. No, not even close. Not even close. Let's talk about how we had in that first off second match, Adam Cole, Jericho. We brought it up a little bit earlier. Very disappointing. Gonna be honest.
Extremely disappointing match.
It was a good build.
Nobody was into it either.
No.
Crowd was out of it.
They got Sabu was interesting just to throw in there. Like none of it.
But kind of not because he disappeared immediately.
Yeah,
what's this? Even the commentators didn't know what he was doing.
Like, okay.
Yeah, like one of them said he was the ref, and they're like, "No, he's the enforcer," and then he just was gone.
He was supposed to be there to back up Adam Cole because Jericho's got the whole JAS, but that wasn't really very well explained.
No.
Like, they could have just said that, so it's like, oh, to even the odds, it's Sabu on, you know.
You can take on these 5 guys.
Right. Well, Sabu, Roddy Strong, right? And Britt Baker now, you know. So, those kendo stick shots were pretty fucking stiff. I'll give, Britt some credit there and Jericho some credit. Those were pretty fucking rad. Like, she beat the fuck out of him with those. But the match was boring.
It was.
I don't know. It was.
Adam Cole's comeback has not been great, man.
No, it's not. And that's why I worry because it seemed like they were positioning him as the next guy for MJF, and I'm like, I don't think this is gonna be good for Cole if that happens because he's not there. No, he's not there right now. So I think you gotta do something else
not as a
first.
babyface. No,
no.
He could be a heel at the top, but babyface, he's just. It's hard to. It's harder to like. It's harder to love him and get behind him.
Is he going to become the leader of Black and Bullet Club Gold? Or be involved? That could make sense. Bullet Club Gold, like the NXT thing, the boom and the thing, and it's his colors anyway, and now he was Bullet Club anyway, and like, there's some synergy you could fuck with there.
I mean, with Roddy there,
gold. I want to be clear. You keep calling it black and gold. It's just gold. It's just everything in wrestling is black.
Yeah, you're right. Just gold.
You're right.
Bullet Club.
It's Bullet Club Gold.
I call it the Bang Bang Gang. Like that's what I call it. But yeah, okay, gold it is. But it's pretty similar to those NXT colors if you think about it. And I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I can see that would be a way to, you got to turn him heel eventually again because he's better as a heel anyway. And aligning him with them would probably work, and then you can maybe even build something to them versus the Elite at some point. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think you've built this TV show around him.
Yeah,
He's
the All
Access, and you're gonna do a season 2.
Well, CM Punk's gonna come back Bullet Club, and then he's gonna like bring everyone over to another show called Collision, where he's gonna do the new NWO, but it's gonna be like 2D TV shows. He's gonna do
the Outcasts already,
but he's gonna be Bullet Club,
right?
and then Tama Tonga will be there, so it'd be fun.
Thought he was going to WWE.
I don't know anymore. I do sort of like the pairing of Jericho and Saraya, though. They feel like they're going to be really irritatingly great together. If anybody can make Saraya work.
I like that he brought the wizard thing back.
Yep.
Make her.
Poor security guard.
She is void of, I don't know. She's just, I've never liked her promos or anything.
Yeah.
Make her a witch. I don't know.
I don't know. What's her name?
Oh, Julia Hart.
She's already got that on lock, I feel
That's
like.
True.
It's Jericho. He'll get his lawyer to, put a thing on it and trademark it. And so, they'll be good to go. But no, I do feel weirdly like they're going to work well together, and that this might be able to correct course a little bit with Saraya. If there's anybody that can do it, it has to be him. I think that's the last shot for Saraya, and there's a reason this is happening. She doesn't get put with Jericho if it's working.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't
think, though, that this has. God, I've been complaining all night that things always come back to CM Punk, but they've been saying that Jericho Punk is going to be the thing. Is it now not going to be the thing?
That's a great point. Yeah.
It's gonna be.
I don't know. I mean,
it'll be Joe. It'll be Joe.
Will it?
It's gonna be Joe. That's what I think it is. I think it's Joe. I don't think it's Jericho. I think it's one of the conditions. It's why Joe's sort of middling around with a belt, just dicking about in Ring of Honor right now with the television title. When the moment comes, it's glass can break, right? Joe's there. It's an easy one for me. I think it's been Joe the whole time, and that's one of the conditions that Punk probably has. That's
what I'd like to see. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not crazy about Punk coming back for a ton of reasons, but there's still a few matchups that I would really like to see.
I think it's a way to win back favor with the audience by doing that feud. I think it's a win for Collision as a new TV show just by having that feud on it. But I also think it could possibly be used as a side note to elevate Ring of Honor with Punk's appearance, maybe some appearances on that to kind of garner some intrigue in that product. So I think there's a triple fold like strategy to all that. And I think Ring of Honor is rolled into that, especially with like I've not heard anybody talk about that, but I think that's one of the big reasons the Punk is so important. It's not as much as you think it is the AEW business. It's that one that Tony Khan bought that he used to kind of be the
paywall.
Right, that put behind a paywall. This might be the product though that he's selling to HBO Max. This is the one that he's probably like going to get on something. I don't know. This could at least elevate it to that level. It's far from it. But if you have a big Punk feud, will people buy a pay-per-view, a Ring of Honor pay-per-view for Samoa Joe and CM Punk on a Ring of I'm buying it.
Yeah.
And I don't even and I hate CM Punk. Do you know what I mean? Like I have to see that.
So how does this work with the world title?
I don't fucking know, dude.
Collision and Dynamite.
I don't know.
I don't know if they are going to be separate shows.
Like, so does it?
I think they're just going to keep the people who don't get along together on separate shows for the time being, unless they make it all part of the storyline. Next,
I mean, you would think you would want people tuning into both shows.
Yeah.
So you would keep a common thread.
And I think that's what they're going to do.
WWE, I think you learn that, yet you somehow keep saying they're separate.
Yeah, I think anybody can appear anywhere, but we sort of know that this guy appears more like the Elite, for instance,
really
appear more on Dynamite.
Storyline though, if you don't know.
You know, I think it's also worth noting that in the press conference before Double or Nothing, someone had asked, it might have been Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics, asked Tony Khan if they had renewed a TV rights deal with WB Discovery with this addition of Collision, and they didn't. They just added this extra show. Yeah. Now they're paying extra for this for the production of this extra show, but it's just simply added on. So they're still in the courting phase with trying to get this new TV deal. So I could see them doing everything that they can to get those ratings up. And let's be honest, Punk will get ratings up. So I could see, like I said, I could see him being on both shows, just them keeping, unless Punk comes back and is immediately part of a storyline with the Elite, they're going to keep them on separate shows.
I said from the get-go, the way you fix this whole Punk problem is, you have him come out first thing on Collision, big do that whole thing, immediately followed as he's about to bring the mic up to his mouth, but Carry On My Wayward Son.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way you fucking do that. You have them come out and you look at him right in the eye. They don't even have to say a word. They have to be there on the same show on the opening night to make a point. We can be in the same building together. We can work together. We're not going to do it right now. We're going to tease that for you. But it's
always going to be the elephant in the room. Until they address
if it's not the full group, you have Kenny do it. You have one of them, someone. Hangman would be great. Hangman's music plays, and he comes out and stands there for a second. They have an eye, an exchange without saying a word. We know what's going on there.
Like how you said an eye. Is it because he has an eye patch?
It doesn't anymore. I love that eye patch. That
me too.
That leather eye patch. It's
a good looking eye patch.
That's as far as eye patches go.
That's a solid.
Historically,
Hangman in movies usually have eye patches.
It's a good looking eye patch. But either way, you got to do something like that. You have to, I get it. You got to make the big deal. You got to get your pop from Punk and everything. But I would, if I'm Tony Khan, you have the Elite's music play, or you have Hangman's play, or, and they come out, and they say no words, and they go back behind. Okay. It's an acknowledgement of something. And it's kind of like, again, I talked about it earlier, that trust in the audience. That sort of that AEW once had. It is a bit of a wink to the back, a wink to the knowing fan. But when it is important, you need to do it. I'm not saying do it every time, but this one's one of those. I feel like you do. I feel like you have to, we can't, I get it. There's lawsuits and all this. Maybe you can't come out and make bite jokes.
Yeah, I know. That's
but are
thing.
there?
Are there?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, no one's ever
confirmed
that.
We don't know. I don't know. But we have to, regardless, we have to find a tasteful way, even if there's lawsuits, we have to find a tasteful way to acknowledge it so that we, as fans, can be like, all right, this is where we're at. We can move on. And I think that we're owed that in a sense.
I think so too.
We are.
But Punk or no Punk, Rampage and SmackDown just did better ratings than they have in 4 or 5 weeks on this past Friday. Rampage was finally back on Friday. They did the lowest of all lows for every night Rampage was on Saturday night. And granted, NBA playoffs were happening and SmackDown was hit too. But regardless, they've been on Saturday night for 5 weeks, and they just went back to Friday, and their fucking viewership went up, and they were historically down for all of those 5 weeks. That's a real tough fucking slot. It's a real tough fucking slot if you're going to carry storylines over and expect hardcore wrestling fans, which is what
Saturday night at 8 o'clock
has stated that AEW is. They specifically said when they were doing this whole launch of all the different shows that were coming out that Wednesday morning before Dynamite, and said hardcore wrestling fans. They didn't say casual wrestling fans. They made the point to say they are behind AEW because of the hardcore fan base. So
even the hardcore fan base is going to eventually burn out of that product and not be there for you at Saturdays at 8 p.m.
Owen said it
every
last
week.
night or last week. Owen said, I mean, on Saturday nights, I mean, we all love wrestling, but I mean, some of us sometimes want to go out to the pub. Some of us, God forbid, want to see a vagina or a dick. He was like, you know, in real life, you know, Saturday night is the night you do that.
Yeah.
It's totally, and that's the thing is they another thing that Tony had covered at that press conference was they asked him what kind of share he was thinking he would do of the audience those nights, and I think they were expecting like a 0.23 on average, which was between like 500 to 750,000 or something like that. Which they've done that. They've done it on a Saturday show with Punk, but they haven't done it on all. And they there's this pattern they have. They did it with Dark. I don't know if you guys remember, but like one of the first episodes of Dark had a hardcore match lights out match between Kenny Omega and John Moxley. I mean, that is on Dark, you know. And then we have Rampage, where every
that was was that the Joey Janela one?
Oh, Joey Janela.
It was Joey Janela. It was Kenny. It was Kenny Joey.
Yeah. And you know, that's kind of the pattern we go, where we really draw people into it, and then once they're into it, they're just kind of like, all right, you know, it's a missable show, because Rampage does still feel like a very skippable show. And God, I hope Collision doesn't go that route. I'm completely with you.
I'm thinking
it's a tough night, and they need to really find a way to pull people in.
It's also extremely tough for Rampage, the fact that they like, anytime I want to know what happens, we know what you can get the spoilers and know whether it's worth. So that doesn't do any service. But like, if they're recording, I guess maybe they would have to record Rampage with that.
When Collision comes along, Rampage essentially just becomes Dark and Dark Elevation on TV.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen. Like, that becomes like the feeder, very like squash match, blah 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 blah, like quick bullshit show. Everything that was worth a damn that occasionally happened on Rampage, that'll be on Collision. And then, like, I also have a theory that because of the time slot, again, 8 on Saturdays, adults that want to fuck are fucking. So this is good for children. So this is also why CM Punk can help with this, because weirdly, the kids like CM Punk. So like they'll do more of a children WWE related show, I think, on the Saturday, which is weird because it'll be branded more like a WWC Nitro, but that's what I think they're going to do. And then I think Dynamite will actually be more the opposite, but be Dynamite.
What do you do on the Saturdays that WWE, because they've been moving premium live events to Saturdays? What do you do on those Saturdays? Do you try and compete, or you just like deal with it going away? And does that mean that you are no longer going to do any Saturday pay-per-views? They're all back on Sundays.
They have to be, yeah. I mean, they have to be, because they still have, God, they still have almost half a year left of Battle of the Belts. Oh no, a year and a half left on that contract. So they'd have to do.
When is it? Like every quarter?
Yeah, every quarter they'd still have to do them. I imagine maybe they make those the Friday Rampage show, or they do them on like a special Sunday or Tuesday night or something.
They'd have to. Yeah,
but I can't. Yeah. I mean, they're it's in their contract unless they figure out some other way to.
Or maybe they worked around that with the addition to Collision.
Collision, that's true.
Extending on
they probably
contract.
did. They probably did something like that.
That actually would make a lot of sense. Yeah.
We have to talk, of course, about like Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm. Yes. We all heard the news that Jamie was injured. I felt like she did a lot for having an injury in this. It was all crap, but she actually like did a couple moves and lifted, whatever. I guess it's like, maybe that's my one good shoulder. She put the weight on the right. Yeah, I don't know what she was doing, but I feel bad for her because I don't think her run's been particularly as good as it could have been, and I think it's been overshadowed just by this Outcast stuff. But Toni Storm was the next best thing to do and to put it on. She got robbed of her run as well. She absolutely got robbed of her run, and I think she was doing a fantastic job, and she was like, apart from her terrible rip-off Barracuda theme music that she had, like I can't do it. Yeah. I always joke it's Matthew's favorite theme song. Like it's literally like I'm gonna at his funeral I'm gonna play that as he's going down in the grave. It's just gonna go to it's gonna be that one. But no, she's already killing it as a heel. I'm still not sold on the Outcast, but
just add something.
This might sell this. This might make them work. This might be this and the Jericho thing. It's like, okay, we might be able to salvage this kind of turd here. Ruby, I don't like you. I'm just kidding.
I'm always in the I don't like Ruby thing, and then you're like, oh, she's doing great.
I've given up. I've given up.
I think she's great.
I've given up.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm still officially. On the fence. I really, really, really want to like her. But,
I tried, man.
I just haven't seen that.
I tried.
I haven't seen it
yet. She
doesn't
have it.
No, she don't got it.
Who else is in the Outcast with them?
Saraya.
Ruby, Saraya, and Tony.
Yeah. And Tony's the right one out of the three to put that fucking belt on. So.
Well, because Saraya can't wrestle.
Am I wrong in thinking? I'm pretty sure I read it on a graphic, and I was like thinking about it. I'm like, I think that's true. Toni Storm is the first 2-time champion, women's champion.
I thought maybe Shida was.
Yeah, I thought Shida.
See, I might be wrong then. I don't know.
Or even Britt.
Maybe it was a weird way that they worded it. Like, but it was.
Yeah.
I don't know, like
first 2-time Australian champion.
It's the same guy
within 6 months.
Oh, is that all? Yeah, it's probably something like that. Yeah. We had
on a Tuesday.
My favorite. See. We talked about like the story of this pay-per-view. I said it was like there was a good 4 to 5 matches. First one I definitely described was the Battle Royal, right? Like that's number one. Great match. We can all agree on that. Definitely not gonna say I think we kind of glossed over it. We talked about it a bit, but I think Wardlow and Christian is worth a watch for most people. Like I think Wardlow and Christian was an over delivery of a match. We didn't talk about it enough in the sense that I love the fact that like I don't know in my head if that ladder was gimmicked, if that was supposed to happen when Wardlow hopped off the fucking rope and like. And bent the ladder, like literally bent the ladder and broke a couple of the fucking rungs off of it. I don't think it was. I don't think that was supposed to happen. No, I don't think that was supposed to happen. Dude. But that just and the way it was all handled and the way it felt real. It felt organic. Like that's what I need sometimes. I also need a man. Jumping off a 20-foot ladder onto a big man jumping off a 20-foot ladder and doing the senton bomb.
I was worried about him when he was on the top rope for a second earlier in that match because he was kind of like shaky on the top, like he was just like but the spot was not for him to do it; it was just to tease it, right? And then he got down, and I was like, "All right, thank God." And then he's going up that ladder, I'm like, "No fucking way!" And then he totally drank it in when he got up top, so good for him. He didn't just stand there and freeze and be like, he looked around once he like got his footing and was like, yeah, fucking give it to me.
It's the first time he's looked like a star in a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Was on top of that ladder doing that. Unfortunately, I don't think he kept that aura even at the end of the match. He won the match and that was great, but he didn't feel important at the end of the match.
He did hit that spot perfectly.
It was great. It was
and that got the crowd going because the match was really kind of quiet.
I think
you could hear a pin drop up until that point. Oh God, the Arn.
I think Arn and Luchasaurus and all that stuff kind of took away from the amazingness of that spot.
I think you said it, Owen, in the the group
Say
talking
a lot
on
of
Discord
things.
during it. You said, what is happening right
Yeah,
now?
what is happening
I was
right
like,
now?
I don't actually know what's happening right
Arn
now.
Anderson
either.
is biting a wrestling dinosaur's thumb off, is what I think is happening.
He's either going to pull a Glock on you or he's going to bite your fucking thumb off.
And then Arn Anderson's covered in blood. I'm like, did he shoot himself? I don't know. All of this is seemingly feasible in this kayfabe
He was like a
world.
vampire with the blood off.
If Luchasaurus, he did look like a vampire. If
You know,
Luchasaurus is a lizard too, he grows thumb back. So
that's true. That's true.
It's true. That's true. I have a theory that what they should do is they fuck all this, strip the belt off Wardlow, put it on someone better. I got a few ideas with that one. We can get to that at some point. But get rid of it off Wardlow. Doesn't need it. Put him in a tag team with Luchasaurus. All right, now we got a new tag team. It's Luchasaurus and Wardlow with Arn Anderson as their, their manager. Who doesn't want to see that? That sounds like amazing to me. Arn Anderson's the mouth. I don't know.
Huh?
Luchalo.
Wardlosaurus.
Wardlosaurus is the name. It's Wardlosaurus. Yeah, come on. It's Wardlosaurus. Yeah.
Wardlosaurus.
It's great. It would kill. Oh.
Luchasaurlo.
Yeah, it's not. No, I like the last one. That one's better to me. But yeah, I'm
trying to think of a good dinosaur pun, but my dinosaur knowledge is.
Start watching Prehistoric Planet, man.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's what I have to do.
Jurassic Express.
Jurassic Express.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Moving on.
Okay, so Jeff Jarrett was amazing once again.
Always.
And I was,
as always,
I that match, I loved it. I thought it was
a great match.
I thought it was awesome.
Match.
I thought it was so fun. It was just like every bit of. They did everything. They did they had hot tags. They had guitar shots, but they had storytelling. They had dual suplexes and finishers and submissions.
I called for Double J and Lethal to take it. That was my pick. I really feel like it could have happened.
Karen Jarrett just smashing that guitar over Aubrey is what I needed. I didn't know I needed that.
Fell down on her own.
Oh, it felt so
She,
good.
Walking.
She,
tripped over herself.
But no, what she got right back up. She was like, "I'll do it again." Karen Jarrett was amazing. I loved every bit of everything from this. And it was, all the Mark Briscoe stuff too. The way that whole story evolved and the way that they had manipulated Mark, and then Mark realizes he's like, yeah, these boys, they didn't really mean to hurt me, and he does the right thing in the end, and obviously they're cool and all that, which leads me to believe they can do some cool shit in the future with them, in Mark, right? Gotta also shout out to his camouflage ref gear. That sleeveless camouflage ref gear. I want one. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get that. I told Teresa I'm getting that.
Dude, we should. We'll do it. We'll all wear it together.
I want it. I want it so bad. I want it.
He got knocked out as ref one point there. I mean, knocked out, but he never does as a wrestler. So it's like when you're a ref. There's this your body just becomes glass.
Yeah, you're kind of powerless.
It just
things. Yeah,
it's a disease.
It's a ref bump.
Some over the squared circle. The wrestling gods know, and they just put.
Yeah, it's got to be a good kayfabe
You
reason.
go into the doctor and you're I was in the ring and I think I took a ref bump. It's kind of embarrassing. And then they're like, we checked the footage. We came back. We've tested you. We bumped this thing on your knee. We checked your reflex. They're like, you have referee syndrome. You're a referee now.
Unfortunately, you've made the transition from special guest referee to full time
referee. Yeah.
What do you guys make of though the after the match angle with FTR and Ricky Starks? Because they go backstage after they win, right? It was just after they won, and backstage, Ricky Starks has just been getting beaten up by the Bullet Club Gold, and now FTR were like helping out Ricky. So again, leading to my thing, we're gonna get some weird CM Punk Bullet Club thing. I just have a thing in my head. I think there's gonna be, I don't know if he joins Bullet Club or if he's against the Bullet Club, but there's gonna be something.
He's got to be with FTR, right?
He's gonna be with FTR. You
sounds
think
like
that?
he's involved in every storyline.
Yeah, right.
And I guess
the omnipresent.
Yeah.
you could, but maybe that's the idea that they want us to think, right? That he could literally involve himself in any storyline.
Right.
Well, I think that's what they want because that's what we're all talking about.
It ain't.
Because no one knows. Everyone's talking about it.
I don't want to see more CM Punk. I want to see more CM Punk with how they do it, but I don't want them to fuck it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's about it. Like that's I don't know.
They gotta use him to elevate everyone else. Like if this is just going to be the Punk show,
and like win every
it's
time
not
like
going to work.
Doing.
Yeah, it's going to be Hogan and TNA like all over again. They gotta use him to elevate people, and I think he was doing a pretty good job of that when he was there. It's just now with everything that's going on. I mean, it's almost like in AEW, the most interesting stuff is what's going on behind the scenes, and that's going to carry with him out into the ring. And I'm really interested to see after Chicago what the fan reception is going to be like.
I think he needs to cut the promo of his
do you
life.
think he's going to say, "What do you want to talk about"? That's
yeah,
his first
probably.
line when he
You know,
out.
I wouldn't even be mad if he did.
Yeah.
Because it would at least be on the nose of things. It would be smart to do something like that. Have that awareness because you're showing us the awareness, right?
Yep.
Like you're giving it back. We know. Tell us. Give us something. You owe us.
Yep.
Do. We're buying tickets to see you. We've been supporting you your whole fucking career. All right. Why'd you fucking bite the guy, Ace Steel? Why'd you throw the chair? Why is it like?
Oh, maybe the Arn thing was the
yeah
nod to that.
I thought about that too. Yeah. Let's talk about Jade Cargill and
Arn
like the
looks
subsequent
like a little
the Taya Valkyrie match. Super like almost not. I think two of the best entrances of the night, right? Like they were back to back. Both of them were rad as fuck.
Jade's really overshadowed Taya's after it.
Well, Taya's was really awesome. Taya's was really awesome.
They both were awesome.
Taya's was really awesome as the challenger. I'm like, whoa, they're really giving her a lot here. Like, there must be really behind. And then Jade's was just like, okay, yeah, well,
incredible.
Fuck, yeah, incredible.
And she used to be a member of that sorority who was doing the music. That was really cool.
Their colors, their everything. Like it was that sorority. So super cool.
It's
First,
kind of a Bianca Belair at WrestleMania thing now.
Oldest black sorority. Like oldest black female sorority, I think, in the country.
Think so,
something like that.
HBC.
Something like that. Very WrestleMania. But I'm fine with that for the odd entrance. Who doesn't love fucking that shit? I do. I fucking love that shit. I want to be sports entertained, and she is a sports entertainer. She is one of those. She is one of those that should get that entrance. Does it feel right if I don't know? Jon Moxley gets that entrance? No, it doesn't. I do want to see him do that step, though. I do want to see him do that now.
Like the half twist and drop. He's gonna come up bleeding.
But then again, doesn't Jon Moxley almost get that entrance every single time he comes out in a different way? Like so,
he came out three times the last time he was here in Denver, and by the end of it, remember he grabbed the mic. He's like, "I know you guys are tired of seeing me and hearing me and seeing my entrance." It's like, I've seen it three times.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah. Thanks, though. I did enjoy the match. I thought it was. They had me biting it, they had me biting for the title change in the match. There was a point though where when Taya hit her finisher, I thought, oh my god, they're gonna do it.
And when she didn't, I was like,
that's it.
That
was her one shot.
Yeah, that was it. That was the thing. And
I did not expect what happened after that.
Yeah,
though.
I did.
Like,
I
know Owen, you've been calling it.
I expect it every week. I expect it every show and every because it can always happen. Like my space girl, my alien girl came back.
If you go back to like 147. You've been calling it for like a year.
Yeah, it's probably about a year. I'm like, yeah, well, they're gonna have Jade Cargill lose to Chris Statlander, duh. And then
I was so for the way they did.
8 injuries later. I
was actually against.
Really?
I hated it.
Really?
Because it reminded me a lot of I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was WrestleMania 9 with Hogan and Yokozuna. The story was the main event was Yokozuna and Brett.
Yeah.
Yokozuna beats Brett, and then it's like, I'll take on anyone else, and then Hogan comes out and beats Yokozuna. And I always hated that because it made Hogan look like a weak challenger because he just beat a guy who just already been through a match.
Yeah.
And I feel that same way with Statlander and Jade in that she just wrestled this really one of the matches of her career, one of the hardest matches of her career against Taya.
Probably her best match of her career.
Yeah, and
honestly.
And then here comes Statlander, and it's like, well, yeah, Statlander won, and that's awesome, but she didn't really beat 100% Jade.
It sounds
which I want to see Statlander versus Jade at 100%. That's when Statlander truly gets that win to me. So that's why I didn't like it personally.
I agree with that. I think I was just
kayfabe perspective. You're 100% right.
Yeah,
like
100%. I just think I was so ready for Jade to lose that title.
It also makes Jade or it makes Chris Statlander look like a cowardly babyface, and that's terrible.
And how strong is she when
it's the same concept as when face guys use the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yep.
Like no, you should have to faces should almost just declare it. I'm facing you here. I'm using my title shot here or whatever. Heels, it makes sense. You cash in at last minute. You're a heel. Whatever.
Do you remember Otis's cash in? That was my favorite.
But that's part of the whole deal. And with this one,
I don't remember Otis's cash in.
He didn't. They
just took. That's right. He lost it, didn't he? In a match to somebody. Oh.
Well, Otis didn't know. Otis gave it to the Miz.
I think he lost it.
He lost it, and the Miz
because they did. He was. They gave it to him because of the whole Mandy Rose thing.
Yeah.
And that, and oh my god.
They were high one day, and when they were in the pandemic, and they were like, we should give the Money in the Bank briefcase to Otis," and then they were like, "That was a bad idea. Who do we have? We should probably put that back on the Miz, I guess. Yeah, fine, just get it off Otis." And then they
transitional champion of transitional champions,
who also again showed up to wrestle a banger with Ricochet on Monday.
I heard. I haven't seen that match, but I keep hearing it's like Miz did 3 moves like he never does.
He did a couple, and he was.
He did a Hurricanrana or something.
That guy
he did a running Hurricanrana.
Yeah, wow. He must read on the internet that people are like, you can't wrestle, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to show you. I can fucking wrestle because
he fucking can.
Yeah,
because he actually can. Like I have a lot of respect for the Miz, but
I do too.
Back to what we were talking about the Chris Statlander thing, right?
Yeah.
Simple victory, obviously. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do. I hope that Jade maybe takes some time off, or obviously now this would be the perfect time to ditch all the Mark Sterling stuff because he just cost her the title by opening his big mouth, right? She probably ditches the baddies. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. She can probably keep them if she wants. But I think you bring her back in 4 months. I think you have her in the main title scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that you have her as a face.
Yeah.
And I think
if she's gone, she's got to come back.
If Tony Storm still got the belt and the Outcasts are a big deal, I think he can actually probably throw her and sacrifice her to them. Unfortunately, but I think you can probably do that.
I think the crowd would be behind her.
Yeah.
And I think they're already getting, they've already been behind Jade for a while. She's got, we've just been talking about, she's got the presence. She understands.
She's ready for that next level. She just needed, she doesn't deserve the championship at the next, but she needs to get up there and get some work in those women.
But she could elevate the championship, even though she's not a great wrestler. Just the way she does things and her presence, I think, can elevate it. Because it's the TBS championship that she really elevated that bitch show championship.
Yeah,
we're running out of time, so we gotta kind of we gotta kind of hit some of course the major highlights. We do absolutely just have to say how great of a match that match was. That 4-way that wasn't the main event, but was the main event, and however they want to claim it is. MJF was
double main event.
MJF was never gonna lose it. MJF was never going to lose it. We all knew that, and that took away from it for me. But it certainly
great match.
It certainly delivered by the end, and that was one of the smartest finishes. It was intricate. MJF continues to just do it every single time. He is the
strongest of the pillar. So.
He is that goddamn good.
It was very apparent during this whole build too, with that he was the strongest of the pillars. Like just. Yeah. When he wasn't in the ring with the three of them, when they were on promos and like working, and there was something felt like it was missing. And when he's in there, it all clicks. Not that they're not good all in their own regards and such, but none of them have what he has, which is amazing work on the mic, amazing character work, amazing wrestling skills. Like he is that complete package, I think. Whereas they all have pieces of it that they're good at. They just are lacking in the other ones, which is fine because they're still getting up there and growing. But I don't know, what a way to really solidify Sami as a baby face than announcing he's having a baby, right? Yeah. That's real on the nose.
You know, they were doing a decent job of it prior. They were building it. They were building it correctly.
They were, but this was the final. I mean, and to have him go back to his like thing with like the cue cards and like holding it up, I for a second thought it was a real bad idea when I saw Ty Conti come out. I was like, that was a bad fucking move because you were trying to push him babyface, and like you could tell the crowd did not like it when they first came out, how they announced.
Yeah.
But when they announced, that's when I was like, "Oh, Sami's losing."
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way he's winning now.
Oh, there's definitely no way he's winning. But also, it wasn't the announcement, though it helped. I definitely had a bit of a good for them. Like, yeah, they actually have been through a lot of shit. Like, maybe it didn't work out with Sami's original chick that he proposed to on live TV, and
it's not.
And you know, I get it. Like. They're so good looking they're unlikable. Like so there's a certain you're young, you're douchebag youth, right? I get all of that. But I tell you, I've not been behind Sami for, quite a while. I've been very kind of annoyed by just like everything he does. But in that match, that's what won me over back as I can support him as a babyface, and I'm interested in him again because he was that fucking good. That's Absolutely. Like it was just that wrestler. Simple. It was just that simple, and he
always delivers.
He was incredible,
always.
But I think it was that and a bit more on this.
And that was the most important match of his life, arguably too. And
you can say that,
I think he brought it for that.
Yeah. It was phenomenal. I think that there wasn't a misstep, and I can say the same really for all four of them. But in saying that, like you said, Matthew, MJF, that one bit better.
Yep.
And it's just that one bit better. I can't see any of them in a main event program with Roman Reigns except for MJF, but I can see MJF in a main event program with Roman Reigns.
Absolutely.
Am I crazy in thinking that?
No, I can see him in the program. He doesn't win, but
the War of 2024. I want to be more real than it probably is. I want that motherfucker to go to WWE. To be quite frank,
I do too.
Because I want to see what they can do, what he can do with that platform, with that thing.
That audience.
It's going to be a challenge for him. He's not going to be able to be as vulgar. He's not going to be able to curse every other fucking word like he does in AEW, but I think that he can be tremendous. He's going to do it anywhere. He's going to do it somewhere anyway. But let's see it on the biggest stage just for a little bit. And then, much like Cody, I still think Cody ends up back in AEW one day. And I still think MJF, if he goes to WWE, would end up back in AEW one day. If the company survives. But realistically, I want MJF and Cody in WWE. That's what I really want. Like,
I want to see Cody fall to TNA for Impact. Love that. Just be laughing.
We get to see him at a local Lucha Libre.
Lucha Libre.
Actually, yeah, but those shows have been good. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I did like that match because they did give everyone. It seemed like they gave everyone their own little part.
Yep.
Everyone got to do their special moves and their tribute moves because they all did their mentors moves.
That's true.
Which I thought was really cool. And I like that we got a little bit more of Jack Perry kind of teasing the Edge. Am I going to do it? You weren't sure if he was going to use a title belt, and then he decided not to. But I think down the road, he's going to do it. And when that finally happens, I think then they did that with him burying Christian too. Like when that Edge comes out, it's like, okay, cool. He could be a tough guy, but we'll see if they do that with him.
With Christian, it was acceptable because Christian's a bastard. This time he was about to hit Darby and couldn't do it. I would have faked it a little bit more, like he was about to, and then just instead of it was the way it was delivered, right?
He even looked up at the sky and was like, "Should I do it, Dad?"
Yeah, and that's fine. And he should have been like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it." And he should have taken the run, and then just very last minute,
like when he swings, follow round and kick it out.
He loses, I can't do it. And then there's this internal dialogue. Did he actually really mean to drop it, or did he? Right? There was too much of a decisive moment that he's like, "Yeah, I'm a goody." Yeah, and he's like, "I'm not gonna do it." That's what I didn't like about it. Make it sort of indecisive, so we as an audience don't fully know if he meant to or didn't. Play with it either way. God damn it, I'm good. Anyway, Anarchy in the Arena. Well,
I was about to go crazy with that music playing.
Okay.
It went on a little too long.
I love the concept of a band playing a theme. I just don't want it to be that one over and over again.
And I don't want any of them to be going on while the match is happening.
Yeah.
I like them. I like it in the context of Anarchy in the Arena to have some background noise, but that's I kind of like
at least
being
jam out.
Well, make it like a rock concert. Make it actually that you get a band and you have them play you figure out a few tracks, right, from a popular band, and they're gonna be providing the soundtrack. Sell 1 million records this way,
So was that the band that sang that song?
Violent Idols?
Because they never said the name.
I had to look it up.
That was the name of the band. Violent Idols. They
mask,
said it.
So.
They said
because did they say it?
Yeah, they said it a bunch of times. Violent Idols, and we all thought he was in blackface at first.
That was I was like, oh.
But it was like a weird Uncle Howdy kind of.
There had to have been a better. Yeah, I figured it was like a Slipknot. Slipknot type thing.
I think that's kind of what he does. I think that's part of the gimmick before the wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't think that's he just did that for the night.
He wears the masks. Yeah. If you look it up,
stupid mask.
He wears the mask usually.
Yeah.
It was just that was a surprise because especially from the audience, I don't think you'd be able to tell it was a mask. But there was a lot of people who were like, hold up.
Yeah, this looks like real minstrel show. What the fuck's going on here? This isn't cool. And
but he got super kicked, and that was cool.
Yeah, it was. And it was better than Chris Jericho smashing a MIDI keyboard on the last year. Do you remember? I'm gonna end this music, and he smashed something, and then that. Okay, that was the end of the music. I did like that. It was it was kind of cool. They super kicked the lead singer, but the band kept doing the outro, I kind of wish what I wanted them to do is do that thing where, like, I wanted, well, first off, I wanted all the Young Bucks to super kick all the band. So, like, one by one, instruments would be, like, dropping.
The guitar player was laughing when the singer got
super kicked. I wanted them all to get a super kick so that they were all out, and then like, the instruments would be laying there, and you'd get that, like, ominous hum thing that goes when you do that. Like, you just drop all that, like, because you could leave that for, like, 30 seconds, and it would be kind of interesting to hear on the background of the, like, of everything going on. But
yeah, but how do you super kick that drummer over the set?
Oh, they'd find a way. It's the Young Bucks. Come on. True. It's the Bucks. They'll figure it out.
Have to go to the side behind them.
Yeah.
Behind.
They'd do something.
Top 4 songs by Violent Idols, according to Google. Unscripted Violence, Fuck You, Enemies with Benefits, and Revenge.
Well, these sounds like BCC bullet sucking combat club cooks. It sounds like it sounds like those guys. What are they? The bullet? Wait, no, the other ones. The Blackpool Combat Club. Yeah.
Did you call them cucks?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Blackpool Combat Cucks.
Yeah, the Blackpool Combat Club.
I like that.
The BCCP.
I think I like them sometimes, and then other times I'm just like, I don't think I like you very much. I go back and forth with them.
I prefer him as heels, like, and I like Danielson. Yeah, I do, and I like Danielson as the voice.
It's just a waste. It's just a waste of Danielson to me. It's all it is. Yeah.
But now it seems like it's going to be with Takeshita and Callis.
Yeah. Well, no.
Did you see the Callis interview with JR?
Yes, I've seen the Callis interview with JR. That was prior to the events of the pay-per-view.
But did you hear Kenny Omega's speech at the end of the
did, and he's got 2 friends. He's coming from New Japan.
He's got a couple of friends he can think of outside of that
but
company.
It was never, ever said, and it was explicitly the opposite, that Don Callis and Takeshita are with Blackpool Combat Club. They were celebrating. They were making a very big point of that at the end of Double or Nothing. They were not celebrating together. I have not seen tonight's. I mean, it's been all.
But Callis did bleed with. I mean, that's how you get into the Combat Club.
Maybe,
but he did bleed with him.
But they were very, very separated in this whole experience. True. So I do not. Maybe they are working together.
Though. I don't. Is smart.
There's no reason, but there's no reason for Callis to be in the BCC. There's not. They don't need another mouthpiece. They
don't need the mouthpiece. It's just like, where do you fit him? Because
Callis is just going to be
him just managing like a heel Takeshita doesn't seem.
Well, I think
actually I would still take that.
That's exactly what he's going to be
doing. He brokered the deal,
yeah.
And he helps out every once in a while, like he's got this assassin for hire. And
I'm cool with
that. Now he's also, you don't forget about the stuff he's trying to develop with Will Ospreay, right? So he's trying to gather the best in the world, the bruv. And he's trying to build his own stable of the new Kenny Omegas. And the new stable of Kenny Omegas will eventually take on the Elite. And will eventually, Kenny will have to fight through every single one of them to prove he is the ultimate Kenny Omega of the Kenny Omegas.
To win Callis's love back. I love it.
Yeah.
Something like that. Who are the 2 friends from Japan?
Bushi.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the other one might have to be... It can't be Okada.
Did he say Japan, or he just got 2 friends from elsewhere?
He just said he has 2 friends from elsewhere.
Okay.
He did say Japan.
Okay. So he did, but we gotta think. Yeah, Ibushi's. I mean, give me Golden Lovers, please.
Yeah.
I keep seeing Okada thrown around, and I guess it would make sense somewhat with Forbidden Door, but that seems like a waste of Okada on this match, to be honest, isn't it?
Right.
You want Okada in it. I mean, you do Okada, goddamn MJF. You do Okada, CM Punk. You do Okada, something singles big, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe New Japan could be like, we don't want Okada, our biggest guy, having to work that hard. So put him in a tag match.
I just don't know who that other friend is.
Me neither.
It'll be someone that the indie guys all know.
It's gonna be the dummy, the sex doll.
God,
what's his name?
But the idea was definitely not in AEW, right? I
think he had said it was to the effect of like outside of this.
Yeah.
He may have not said it that way, but I think he insinuated.
Watch, there's a swerve and it's Punk.
Yep.
Dude.
Punk is all elite.
You say that, but that's the sort of stupid
everything.
shit
He's in
they
every
actually
storyline.
need.
He's in every storyline we've booked tonight.
Well, couldn't
that's
be
the sort of
like,
stupid thing they need to do, though. It's the thing they need to do.
Is it? I'm still going with what I came up with last week. Start calling All Out. Call it this year. Call it Brawl Out, and have like FTR, fucking CM Punk, and blah blah versus the fucking Elite.
In like a War Games match or
something. No, that's dope as fuck. I'm into that. I mean, that's a great idea. Real quick, I know we're way
CM
over.
Punk and Kenny Omega each get the pin at the exact same time in one of the rings.
They've done that spot before, haven't they? In a War Games
match?
Have they? Maybe, I don't know.
Sure, they've done something similar.
If not, now's the opportunity to.
With the Anarchy in the Arena match, I do have to bring this up because I think there's a multi-million-dollar idea here if you can master it on a production level, but we need like a red zone type situation for wrestling now.
Yes.
So, and I think you could do this, like if WWE's probably going to be the first one to figure it out, but where you can, with a computer or smart device, you can select what camera on Peacock to like, hey, I want this live, like, I want to see that ringside cam. I want to see this, like, obviously you can get a full production view of how they're cutting it together and how they usually present it. But for a thing like Anarchy in the Arena, right, we almost need the ability to, like,
there's too much going on.
I want to, like, let me see that bit for a little bit, or that bit for a little bit, or that bit for a little bit. And granted, with kayfabe, yeah, you're going to have to cut the camera off every once in a while when you're running into place to do the thing. I get that. That's fine. But just go black. And then it comes back up, whatever. If you're not going to do that, give us, like, I've heard it put like, I've what I would like, because in this Anarchy in the Arena match, there were so many spots that were missed. That was just because of the and it kind of helped the feel of the match and watching the match. I'm not going to take away from that, but I'd like to see the director's cut, right? Yeah, where you got all the footage that's like, now we get to see Kenny actually getting, like the barbed wire on the poker chip, and like all these like little spots that like almost were cutaways at the wrong times because you're trying to, too frantic and go into the next one. Have a director's cut of the whole thing, and like you've got all the footage of every single camera. Just release that as, I don't know.
It's interesting. I said I watch F1 too on F1 racing as well. On the F1 app, you could actually switch live between cars from the race cameras and hear the radios from the manager or the coaches and everything. But it's a really cool feature. You could do it the entire race.
I feel like that's going to come in wrestling or in sports in general, to be able to be like, and they'll have fixed points where it's like announce desk, right? Like you can watch from the announce desk, or you can watch from first row on this side or that side, or like amazing. Whatever, right? Like, or you can watch like the general feed, and like, I think that's going to come. I think that's going to come in time. Again, I know we need to get out of here, but really, really quick, NXT Battle Ground was absolutely worth watching in a couple different points. Dragunov versus Dijakovic. What is his name?
Dijakovic?
Yeah, him. That
T-Bar. Just call him T-Bar.
T-Bar. Yeah. That was really good. Go watch that. If you haven't watched that, you should watch that.
I haven't. I will watch that.
It was really good. It was the last man standing match, and I've never seen Dragunov, his selling was just so incredible. He's like
awesome.
He's like almost crying. Like he's like, but so like that angry cry, like hurt angry cry. And like I've never seen anything like it. It was just fantastic. Go watch it. It's really the best thing on that pay-per-view. Tyler Bate needs a push. Give me his old music back.
Tyler Bate. Yep.
Tiffany Stratton's money, as is Carmelo Hayes. And that's my thoughts on that.
I I have one thing to interject, non NXT related, but I think it was during the Battle Royale. There was one moment in Double or Nothing. Forget who it was. Someone went and did a bunch of tope suicidas in a row. And Owen, it made me think that they were going for the tope suicida match that we've been booking and calling, which is just people do tope suicidas outside.
Yeah,
and whoever
they took my concept. I meant to mention that. Yeah, like they were each doing it. Like, oh yeah,
and then one of them
rate
did
them
like 5 times
like dives off a balcony. Like, oh, that was a 5. That was it was a tope.
Like a slam dunk contest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Have it with like a lumberjack match.
Yeah, it's a tope suicida. Everyone's on the outside, and you just do as many as you can, variations, and
Oh man.
But they did kind of do it.
They did. Also, Gallus sucks, and the Creeds. That was the tag team I was going to talk about earlier. The Creeds need to be on the main roster. Pull them up soon, because Julius and Brutus, or whatever they're called, they're fucking good. And the Creeds, they're good. They need to be on the main roster, working with Chad Gable, working with Kurt Angle, other Olympian type peoples. Maybe I don't know. I don't. What's that guy that kind of
Gable Stevenson?
Fucking get rid of him. Where are they?
Was he ever really a part of this?
Yeah, they're still paying for him.
And they're contracts. And they're saying that he might not be able to rejoin the league that he's trying to rejoin because he has a WWE contract.
I got bad juju on this guy. I got bad vibes. I'm like, I don't know. I'd get rid of this.
Got Ronda Rousey vibes on this one.
Hey, Statlander defended against Nyla Rose tonight on
Dynamite. Nyla Rose, haven't seen her of it.
Can you give us a quick Dynamite recap since we've been?
I'm curious what Tony's.
I was trying to see what Tony's announcement was.
Had to have been coming back.
Oh yeah, do we have?
No, I'm just seeing. All right, so I'm just seeing a couple of matches. So Bandito and Lucha Bros versus Blackpool Combat Club.
Oh.
So,
nice.
Do you want me to do spoilers or no?
Oh, we're spoiling.
All right, they win. Blackpool Combat Club wins by pinfall. It looks like maybe FTR came out afterwards. Then Big Bill, your boy,
buddy,
versus Swerve Strickland versus Trent Beretta.
That's
I guess we know who came out on top. Trent Beretta, not
Swerve.
He took the pin to Swerve. Then we had
but Trent took the pin, not Big Bill.
Yeah, Trent took the pin.
See, my Big Bill, he's still in there, man. He's fucking. You watch.
Oh, this one must have been on the edge. Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy versus Gates of Agony.
Yeah.
Bishop Khan and Toa Leona.
Oh yeah, well, clearly.
But nothing on Tony's announcement, right?
Nothing so
Nothing
far.
on the well, I mean, it's
Statlander.
It's off TV by hours.
Pinfall with a 450 splash. Then Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus Chris Jericho and Saraya. And then, cage side seats not really giving up the Sting came back.
Oh, okay. No, here it is. No, here it is. I just 3 hours ago on Twitter.
Oh, yep, I just saw it.
Tony Khan announced the debut of AEW Collision on Saturday, June 17th at the United Center. Will feature CM Punk.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, because your tickets
weren't selling. Exactly.
Apparently it was a mixed reaction when he announced it. So
ooh, interesting.
Good.
That'll be interesting.
Good.
I think I got it right here. If you want it, let's see. Let's go on with the tickets reactions, Tony. Let's see.
The last few weeks. Thanks, guys. It's great to be here tonight in San Diego. The last few weeks, we've made some announcements regarding the debut of AEW Saturday Night Collision, starting June 17th at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. I'm here tonight to give you a little more information about the debut of AEW Collision. I'm here to announce that AEW Collision, beginning June 17th, will feature CM Punk.
He looks so happy. Mixed reaction. Wow. Listen to that.
I would say that's even mostly.
Hold on. This is worth this. Seriously, this is worth just hearing again.
Play it back.
This is what we're talking about. Listen to that mixed reaction.
Oh, I can't wait to watch this.
Bombshell announcement from Tony Holy smokes.
That's awesome.
Look at the CM Punk shirts and the reaction.
Like Mussolini. Wow. Bombshell announcement by the boss right there.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's interesting. That's
good on that crowd. Good on that crowd.
Yeah.
Where were they at tonight?
What's that?
Where were they? They were somewhere not far from here.
Shit, do you remember where they are next week?
They're here.
Yeah. Did you get a
No,
ticket?
I gotta go to Atlanta.
Oh, do you?
I think.
Okay.
I leave on that Wednesday
I
morning.
might try to get a resale one.
I'll just go to Atlanta for you. I'll pretend to be you, and then you go to the show. Just send me the info, okay?
Yeah.
We'll do the switcheroo again. It's fine.
I'll give you guys a live report.
I gotta shave, I
I'll make it
guess,
down.
but I'll do it.
It's only a 45-minute drive for me, so that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's interesting though. That is
that was really interesting.
This is gonna be very telling. Like, I don't think that's the reaction that Tony Khan expected tonight.
Yeah, he'll get a good reaction in Chicago, but
he will. But this is going to be more the reaction that he needs to start expecting from CM Punk around the rest of the country.
But maybe this is a good thing. Maybe we need an ultra heel summer of Punk.
We need him to be. We need him to be.
That's assuming he's going to be elevating other people, but we'll see.
We need something, and if he's coming back, we get a big heel Punk. They're
in San Diego, I think.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, California has big. I mean, yeah. San Diego though is less of a wrestling crowd than I think like LA. They're not a Bucks crowd. I wouldn't call San Diego a Bucks crowd.
But maybe not.
Yeah.
So that I'm trying to. It's interesting.
Yeah. That caught me off guard.
We're gonna.
Only dead.
Yeah.
I
dig it.
Yeah.
I kind of can't wait to see what happens.
I know.
on this one. Like, hey, well, this is the world of professional wrestling. This is what we do.
They get you to tune in.
Yep.
Matthew, I know you got to go, so let's get out of here, man. We're way overdue from your hard out. So
I got an early morning tomorrow.
Yes, you do. Double J Jansen, thank you so much for joining us once again. And we will have you back certainly, hopefully on a night where we can hang out and party a little bit more. One day I'll come see you, of course, in Colorado. Matthew, sorry for keeping you up. My modern day Maharaja needs to go and earn the dough. And I, myself, Owen, need to go to sleep as well. Check us out, facebook.com/OhNoWrestling.com. What is that groups? Just type in, Oh No Wrestling. You'll find it. OhNoWrestling.com. Just Google everything. It's there. It's Oh No Wrestling. But the Facebook's a thing, and how to find us on the podcast. It's Oh No Wrestling. That being said, patreon.com/ONRS if you want to give us a couple hard-earned bucks. 407-906-6466 if you want to give us a call or a voicemail or whatever you want to do with that. And boys, what do we say when we get out of here? Woo!